Warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. The NFL wildcard weekend kicks off Saturday. That's when the Ravens will host the Steelers. Baltimore will play that game without wideout Zay Flowers. He's out with a right knee injury. The Vikings play the Rams Monday night. Minnesota is considering Daniel Jones as the backup quarterback behind starter Sam Darnold. Jones signed with Minnesota back in November. The CFP semifinals kick off tonight with Penn State and Notre Dame at the Capital One Orange Bowl. Nittany Lions defensive end Abdul Carter, a game-time decision with a left arm injury. How important is he? ESPN's Mel Kiper Jr.
Means a lot. He's like Michael Parsons. What does he mean? He's that kind of guy. And then you move him outside, and you saw his tackles for loss equal what he had done the previous 2 years. Sack total more than the previous 2 years combined because he was off ball. So once they turn this kid loose, he can close like a cat. He brings it intensity-wise every snap.
Mel Kiper Jr. coverage of Penn State and Notre Dame at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio, TV, and the app.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming on Friday. I'll tell you the one reason that'll keep each playoff team from reaching the Super Bowl. It's Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride! Go!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Decision Critical, Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tom Plate. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. There was a national column today asking people if they're prepared to hate Brian Kelly even more, the guy that wrote it. We're going to talk to him in about 15 minutes from right now. Mike Triplet next hour. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
For the first time since he was fired, Dennis Allen spoke about being fired. Was on Unbreakable with Jay Glazer. I'll get to that in just a quick second. But the Saints are continuing to pursue whomever will be the person who replaces Dennis Allen on a permanent basis. And what's interesting is it seems pretty clear that if we're all paying attention, there is a favorite. And I think we can all agree that favorite right now is Aaron Glenn. And sometimes you'll hear me say, people will tell you the story, sometimes not telling you the story. That was an old Mike D line. Mike would say, they're not going to write your story for you, but they're telling if you're paying attention. They're going to write it for you. But, God, I love Mike D. I miss Mike D. But when Drew Brees goes out openly and says that Aaron Glenn is a leader of men, and he's his choice. And Dan Campbell spoke the way he did. Before the season ended, there was the report that Loomis would hire, quote, someone that he knows. The first name mentioned was Aaron Glenn. ESPN has a piece up today with Jeremy Fowler and Dan Graziano where they're kind of doing a point-counterpoint back-and-forth format. And both of them say that they believe Aaron Glenn is the guy in New Orleans. Jeremy Fowler wrote, I'll read this. The Saints are taking a low-key approach with sources telling me that as of Wednesday afternoon, their candidate list hadn't grown past Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn, Eagles offensive coordinator Kellen Moore, Bills Joe Brady, Dolphins defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver, current interim coach Darren Rizzi, Giants offensive coordinator Mike Kafka, and Vrabel. And you say that, and then today we find out the Saints have formally requested an interview with Cliff Kingsbury. So that list is growing. Fowler also mentions that Mike McCarthy could have interest in the Saints job. Now, Mike McCarthy, if he gets fired, will have interest in any job. So naturally, he's not going to take anything off the table. But he says, Fowler writes, agreed. He writes, Glenn still seems like the favorite, but he could have options. Graziano leads his piece by saying, agreed that Glenn seems like the favorite in New Orleans. And then everything else after that. So everything is leaning toward Aaron Glenn being the guy. And I've shared my thoughts on this. And again, it's not my feeling on Aaron Glenn being the Saints head coach is very, very, very unfair to Aaron Glenn. I'm being so abundantly clear about that. I am not interested in anyone who has any ties to the Peyton Breeze era. That is not the route that I think they should go. Because I think it's too tempting with Mickey Loomis still in there to continue to try to run it back, to try to chase that ghost and recapture what you had. Aaron Glenn might be awesome, and he could be awesome in New Orleans. He might get this job. But I am not interested in seeing them try to recreate the Peyton Breeze era again, because you don't have the two most important people, which are Peyton and for whatever it's worth, I guess these would be hypothetical. Sportsbooks actually allow you to bet on coaching odds. They got Joe, then Drew Brees at +6. No! Boomer. Why do I keep getting, can you either of you help me? Where did this start? I don't live in the... Started a rumor that Breeze is going to be the coach, and a lot of gullible people apparently believe it because I keep getting asked, hey man, is Breeze not your brain? New Orleans Saints, it's $1 billion ball there? Come on. An assistant to the quarterback's coach, like when Jari Evans was hired as an assistant offensive wet in there, and then maybe be a line coach. Okay. Line coach. Like, sure, Breeze can come in and do that. Oh, he could go be an NFL head coach. Anyway. Then Bobby, Aaron Glenn, all the way at +1,000. So Joe Brady's got the best odds. According to bookies.com, Aaron Glenn's got the 7th best odds. So the odds makers maybe don't think so much, but everyone around this thing seems to be. All right, it's after further review. Our show, but never. The New Orleans Saints, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of the LSU Tigers. We start a new year. Maybe tonight. Maybe tonight you're going to be watching the college football playoff semifinal. Notre Dame, Penn State down in the Orange Bowl. Swing on in to your great retailer. Grab a 6-pack, maybe some bottles. Get the suitcase, the 24. Load up your fridge. Have a great time watching the game with some ice-cold Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. Dennis Allen did speak for the first time since being fired as the Saints head coach. He was on Unbreakable with Jay Glazer, and he did talk about the day that he was fired. Here was the description.
I was let go on Monday morning. Mickey came into my office, closed the door, said, let's talk. And Mickey was not really in favor of this move. Right. And we talked, and we had a really good conversation. So then he kind of said, well, let me, there's a couple of guys I want to talk to the coordinators. I want to talk to Darren Rizzi, who's, he's going to have.
Was it you want to talk to him? Or
no, he wanted to talk to them. And I said, look, I want to be able to address the staff. I want to be able to talk to the staff. Okay. And so I had a meeting at 10 o'clock with the coaches and told them, hey, look, this is what happened. This is I got to let go.
It's a hard conversation.
It's an awful conversation.
One more, as kind of laid out that day. He did number 3, please. He just listen.
When I think about getting fired, I really think about, well, look, as this is your company, this is your organization, you have the right to do whatever you want to do with that. And I don't look at it as, I failed. I look at it as they just decided they wanted to go in a different direction. And if I'm not what they want, I think there's a lot of spots that I will be what they want.
Right.
Oh, man. I mean, there's a lot of delusion there. Dennis Allen in his career as a head coach is 26-53. He's got a .329 winning percentage as a head coach in 2 different stints. In New Orleans, he was 18-25, a .419 winning percentage. So again, sub 500. He inherited an organization, a team that had gone to the playoffs in 2017, 18, 19, 20. They missed in 21. He took over, of course, in 2022. Went 7-10. Then 9-8, only because of the strong finish against a weak schedule. And then this year started 2-7, of course, the 7-game losing streak, a defense that finished dead last in the NFL. Boy, I don't know. And I understand confidence, right? In order to be a head coach, you have to have this sort of belief in yourself and your ability. Otherwise, it's what prompts a man in a situation like that to want to be a head coach or anyone in a position of leadership, because you believe in your ability to do it. But sometimes you have to be able to identify and self-evaluate and be self-critical and say, what was my role in what went wrong? And for Dennis Allen to sit here after going 18-25, leading the Saints to a 7-game losing streak, it's the first time we'd seen that since Katrina. I mean, actually longer than that. To not own any culpability for what went so terribly wrong during his time here is ignorant at best, stupid at worst. However you want to say it, I don't know. But Dennis Allen's gone, no longer the Saints' problem, and I don't suspect he's going to have another opportunity to be a head coach. All right, it's after further review. Blake Toppmeyer is going to join us next. He thinks that LSU is going to be really good next year. And as a result, a lot of people who hate Brian Kelly are going to be really mad about it. We'll talk to Blake next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Seaganeer Airline, LA 16 in Denham Springs, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. I think, did I say Denham Springs or Greenwell Springs the first time? Did I say Greenwell Springs? Sorry. Mid-City on Donmore. Of course, LA 16 in Denham is where the Denham Springs location is. By the way, if you live in Denham, you know where I'm talking about because there literally isn't another garden center within a 5-mile radius of that Clegg's on LA 16. So get on by and see our friends over at Clegg's Nursery. Of course, it's cold. A lot of people trying to stay inside right now. But, man, this cold weather, there are plants and trees, things that absolutely love cold weather. Citrus trees are a great example of that. And they just got stocked up. I mean, 13 minutes ago, Clegg's posted this on their Facebook. The potting soil and the planting mix, they are stocked up with pallets over there at all the Clegg's Nursery locations. So, looking to plant something, get in that garden, get a little exercise, get outside, get some vitamin D. It's Clegg's Nursery.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at DecisionCriticalVR.com.
Notre Dame and Penn State will play in the college football playoff semifinals on Thursday night. Of course, that's a place where Brian Kelly coached, led Notre Dame to great success, more success than they had had in 2 decades since he showed up. Got him to 2 college football playoffs, got him to a BCS championship game. Felt like he bumped into a glass ceiling, so jumped ship, went to LSU. And for some reason, the college football-loving world seems to hate Brian Kelly, something I haven't quite figured out in my time covering him. But Blake Toppmeyer took a stab at it. Blake Toppmeyer is part of the USA Today network, and I love the headline on this piece. If you haven't read it yet, I would highly recommend you go do it. But the column is great as well. But the headline, whoever wrote the headline here did a fantastic job. Can't stand Brian Kelly now? Wait until LSU coach wins big in the SEC after transfer portal ads. Blake Toppmeyer wrote it. He's with us now. How are you, man?
I'm doing well. You, Matt? I'm good. Did you write the headline, or does someone at USA Today write the headlines?
That was my headline, slightly tweaked by an editor at USA Today. So it was a little teamwork. I was kind of the brainchild of it, but I did get a little assistance, tweaks in a couple minor areas.
Well, it's eye-catching, but you actually lead the column with something that I've asked quite a bit. So it's not like this is unique to me or any of us. But you're right, John and Susie Q football fan can't stomach Brian Kelly. I can't figure out why. Because I didn't know him at all before he coached LSU. I found him to be actually kind of delightful since he's been here. Why do you think college football fans, seem to have Kelly painted as a villain?
Well, I think it's a few things. Number one, and Brian Kelly hit on this, because I asked him, as you read in the column, I asked him this direct question when I sat down with Brian one-on-one in 2023. I mean, I asked him flat out, like, college football fans really can't stand you. Have you thought about why that is? And Brian gave a thoughtful answer. He said, like, he was at Notre Dame for so long, 12 years, and so much emotion is wrapped up with Notre Dame. You know, there is a polarizing place. Either you're an Irish fan and you love them, or you're a fan of someone else and you hate them. There's not a lot of neutral feelings about Notre Dame. And so Brian Kelly's theory was, like, he was there so long that by extension, those feelings applied to him, and people came to hate him just because he was Notre Dame's coach for so long. And I think that, like, touches on a little bit of it, but I don't think that's all of it, because, I mean, Marcus Freeman, you know, the average college football fan doesn't dislike Marcus Freeman. And,
right.
and so I've kind of thought about, like, what else factors into this. One, I think it's Kelly's sideline demeanor, right? Like, I mean, he gets hot under the collar. He has a tendency to sometimes rant and rave on the sidelines. He's like a meme waiting to happen. And I think my experience has been similar to yours, like in person, one-on-one interactions, conversations. Like, I wouldn't say I find him charming, but I find him more conversational, more I don't know if I want to say friendly, but like you can sit down and have a productive, enjoyable conversation with Brian Kelly. That doesn't come through when he's ranting and raving on the sidelines, but that's coaching, right? He's not the only coach that does that. So that's one factor. But I also think, and this is part that I don't think gets touched on a lot, like this is someone who's from the Northeast, from a Boston suburb, and there's this perception, I think, from a lot of Southerners and Midwesterners, like that he's a Northeastern elite or something like that. I mean, from what I know of Brian Kelly's upbringing, I think he was pretty middle class, but you know, there's a perception like he's this Northeastern elite, and this is a sport that caters to Southerners, that caters to Midwesterners. It's college football is not hubbed in the Northeast, right? And so I think that's part of it too. And you add it all up, and for whatever reason, he's become one of the most unlikable coaches, I think, to John and Susie Q football fan that there is. And one more thing, like I think the way he left Notre Dame, like nobody likes a turncoat, nobody likes the coach who leaves for quote unquote greener pastures. I don't really criticize Brian Kelly's career move, and I look at things through a business lens, but I think, you know, a lot of football fans, that was sort of the cherry on top, him leaving Notre Dame and indicating that he thought LSU was a better platform to chase a national championship from.
So they hated him because he was at Notre Dame. Then he spurns Notre Dame. They hate him because he spurned the place that they are. It's a weird web that has been woven here.
Totally. But I mean, some of this is illogical, right? Like, you know, why do fans love certain coaches and dislike others? You know, some of this is, you know, it doesn't always make sense. And we know these guys sometimes in a way that, you know, the average fan doesn't. And sometimes, you know, individual media members have personal feelings maybe about their interactions with a coach that doesn't match the way fans feel about that coach. And you know, me and Brian Kelly, I wouldn't say are best buds, but I have had occasion to sit down with him. And, you know, we've gotten to know each other on more than one instance. And, yeah, I mean, I do find him fairly personable when you get him in those settings. And more than that, he's insightful. Like there's a lot of college football coaches that sometimes you don't even bother to ask about certain topics because you think they're not going to provide an insightful answer here. But Brian Kelly's pretty smart, but or at least to me, he comes across as pretty smart. But I also wonder if that's another reason why the average college football fan doesn't care for him. Nobody likes the smartest guy in the room. And I think Brian Kelly values his intellect, and I think there are probably times where he feels like he's the smartest guy in the room.
One thing that's undeniable too, Blake Toppmeyer is our guest, has a great column up about Brian Kelly right now. But one thing that's undeniable is the only way people are going to have a feeling for you, good or bad, is if you are relevant. And it's undeniable that he has also been relevant for a long time. One of the questions that's kind of been posed since Notre Dame is now advanced in the playoff is, was Brian Kelly the thing holding Notre Dame back? And now Marcus Freeman has found the unlock. Where do you fall on that?
Yeah, I don't think Brian was the thing holding Notre Dame back. I think, you know, Brian Kelly's success allowed this moment to happen for Marcus Freeman, I think, or it influenced this moment for Marcus Freeman. He uplifted that program onto a higher plane than it had been in many, many years. He restored Notre Dame to prominence, you know, not just in the television ratings, but in the record column. However, you know, there's been other changes in the sport since Brian Kelly left that I think Marcus Freeman met the moment, right? Like we all kind of wondered when NIL and the freedom of transfer movement came along, like how that would affect a school like Notre Dame. Were they going to be real uppity and say, no, we don't do pay for play, and we're not gonna be taking transfers here, or would they kind of roll up their sleeves and get into it? And I think it's been more the latter. Like, you know, we don't have public disclosures of every NIL collective's finances, but you know, we all talk to people, and from what I hear, I think Notre Dame is competitive in the NIL space, and they've been efficient in landing some high-impact transfers. That doesn't mean Marcus Freeman's going to be, you know, rivaling to be the portal king, but Notre Dame's been pretty punchy in adding some impact transfers. So I actually think, you know, they've done a really good job meeting the moment when it comes to NIL and transfers, and Marcus Freeman has something to do with that. Like, I can't say how Brian Kelly would have done in those areas at Notre Dame. I don't know. I do know Marcus Freeman's done well, I think, in those areas, and has been the man for the moment. at Notre Dame. But yeah, it's just it's like everything that happened before 2021 versus now. Like, I think we got to view it through a different prism. So, Brian Kelly never won the big one at Notre Dame, but he got him to the big stage. Marcus Freeman has not yet won the big one at Notre Dame, but he's also got them to the big stage and done it in, a different paradigm of college football. But, I don't know that means that Brian Kelly couldn't have won, kept winning big at Notre Dame in this era, or we just don't know. But I do think Marcus Freeman was the right man for the moment, and I think Brian Kelly's success before Marcus Freeman probably was a positive factor on Freeman being able to have some success here.
Yeah, I think it's a great reminder that two things can be true at the same time. Marcus Freeman can have done a great job, and Brian Kelly could obviously have left him a great situation, which he did. Blake Toppmeyer is with us. He's on Twitter at @Toppmeyer. Go give him a follow. But it is also a very good segue because in this new paradigm, Brian Kelly just polished off or is still working on the best portal class in the country. And that's what you write about, is that you're projecting great heights for LSU and Brian Kelly because of this portal class. What is your observation of what you've been able to see Brian Kelly and LSU do here in the past month?
Yeah, I think they're killing it in the portal. Is it going to be enough for them to chase the championship in 2025? I don't know. I think it's a little early to say that yet. Let's see where all the depth charts land, come July. But I do think watching LSU this season, and I saw them in person a few times, I saw them on TV a few more, they seemed to lack the personnel necessary to chase greatness. Now, that's not an excuse for Brian Kelly. In year 3, he should have done more to have the personnel that he needed out there this year. But I did think, they got to get better personnel. And I think Brian Kelly obviously realized that. And then LSU loses the commitment of Bryce Underwood. And that was kind of when everything was sort of piling up on Brian Kelly. But I thought he smartly used that as sort of a rallying point. It wasn't long after, Underwood's commitment flip that Brian Kelly came out with his financial pledge to donate up to $1 million to the LSU Booster Group in a dollar-for-dollar match if fans would donate to LSU's NIL collective. And, again, there's no open disclosures of collective finances, but I don't find it to be a total coincidence that this call came out from the head coach for fundraising, and I thought in a very productive way. By the way, I thought we've heard other coaches. And Mark Stoops from Kentucky comes to mind. Mark Stoops basically called his fan base cheapskates. And when he was bemoaning a lack of NIL support, he called his fans cheapskates. Like there is a right and wrong way to do this. And I thought it was really something for Brian Kelly to say, I'm going to fork over $1 million of my own money toward this. And he can't directly donate to NIL, but we can add 2 and 2 together and see that it equals 4. So I thought it was a smart way to get at it, and I mean the fruits are in the offerings that we see that LSU has signed on the transfer market here. They need more help, I think, but getting a couple plug and play guys on the offensive line, getting 2 disruptors on the defensive line, getting some guys in the secondary like they've done. Like they're not getting scrubs. Previously in Kelly's tenure, he would kind of get these tire patches in the portal. And I mean, he hit a home run with Jaden Daniels, sure. But up to this point, it's been more tire patches than home runs. And I think some of these guys, maybe not home runs, but I mean, they're stand-up doubles into the gap, I think, a lot of these guys. And you add on top of that, the class would have been better with Underwood, but he still signed a pretty good class. He's got Garrett Nussmeier coming back. I mean, Brian Kelly's winning the offseason. Doesn't mean he's going to win the big trophy in the season, but he's giving LSU a chance, I think, with the offseason he's having.
Blake, I know you've covered the SEC for a good while. When you look at the league top to bottom from the 10,000-foot view going into 2025, where do you think LSU falls in the pecking order? Again, I'm not feet to fire holding you to this. We're going to have a spring football portal. There's going to be tons more movement. But as of today, where would you put them in the pecking order for 25?
Top 4, I think. And that might be a little bit bold given the season that they had. I mean, this is a few years in a row now where LSU does not look like we expect LSU to look on defense. And there was less progress than I expected there to be this year. There was a little bit, but not nearly enough progress on defense. But when you add up, they have the most proven quarterback in the SEC coming back. I mean, I really like a couple other guys around this conference too. I would, DJ Lagway, I'd love to have him at Florida, sure. And a couple others, but Garrett Nussmeier.
Not to derail you. I'm sorry, Blake, not to derail you. If I gave you one quarterback, one quarterback for 25, pick of any of the lot, I give you one for 25, who would it be?
Lagway or Nussmeier?
Well, I'm surprised you put Lagway up there, considering the small sample. But anyway, so not to derail, but anyway, go ahead, finish your thought. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, you guys, you think about it, there's some guys that are outbound too. There's a lot of guys headed out the door as well. And some people would say Arch. I haven't seen. I feel like I haven't quite seen enough of Arch to put him in that group. And we've got a little bit bigger sample size, I feel like, of Lagway. But anyway, Nussmeier would be my top two. I've been kind of pounding the drum for Garrett Nussmeier for a while now. I feel like I somehow fell backward into being a member of a board member of the Garrett Nussmeier fan club or something.
You're on the Nuss bus, bro. You're driving the Nuss bus.
Yeah, I'm driving the Nuss bus. Yeah, I host a podcast, and my co-host on SEC Football Unfiltered, he's been saying this for years. How did I fall into this position on the Nuss bus? I don't know, but I love his skill set. And I think he had a good season. I think he could have an even better season next year. I don't know that he's totally hit his peak yet. So when you add him up with some of his transfers in, I think top four in the SEC is feasible for LSU because they're not operating individually here. You look at what else is going on around the conference. Alabama is sort of at a fork in the road moment here, an inflection point with Kalen DeBoer. We don't really know which direction they're going. They signed a good class, but I think next year might be a little bit of a struggle for Alabama. Georgia, their dynasty is receding a little bit. Georgia's not going to all of a sudden become rubbish, but they're not 2021 and 2022 Georgia, and they've got some concerns, I think, in their depth chart next year, including who's going to play quarterback. Tennessee, who made the playoff this year, their roster is in a state of regression. Ole Miss is also smashing it in the transfer portal, but gosh, they're losing a lot of talent, including their quarterback and Jackson Dart. And so I like LSU's positioning. I would have them top four in the league. I think Texas is going nowhere. I think Texas is here to stay as long as Steve Sarkisian is there. I mean, they got a nice war chest and a really good coach. Excuse me. And so I think they're here to stay. But yeah, I would like LSU's positioning as it stands here, in early January.
Can't stand Brian Kelly now. Wait until LSU coach wins big in SEC after transfer portal ads. That's the column from Blake Toppmeyer. You can go read it. I retweeted it. We'll make sure we get it retweeted as well from the 104.5 ESPN account as well. Hey, Blake, Happy New Year, man. Thanks for the time. Great to chat.
Okay, sounds good. Good catching up.
Be well. We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank vinyl siding. Oh, yeah, they do shutters as well. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. 43 degrees right now in Baton Rouge. It was below freezing last couple nights. I'm telling you, man, you walk by your windows, you feel that blast of air. That's leaky, drafty windows. That's costing you money. That's making your heater work harder. You want to fix that? Install energy-efficient replacement windows from Relief Windows. It'll lower your energy bills, increase your home's resale value, and you'll get a great experience always with Relief Windows. Windows, door siding, oh yeah, they do shutters as well. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. All right, well, now I got a break. We'll go around the SEC when we come back. Good stuff there from Blake. I appreciate it. Mike Triplet in 1 hour from right now. Mike's good enough. We'll do a post-mortem on the season, get Mike's take on the coaching search. Mike's been good enough to be with us every Thursday here during the season. We just have to switch time. So 1 hour from right now, Mike Triplett will be here. Stay with us. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. If it's hormone replacement therapy or ED treatments or dozens of other services among their menu of services, at Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness, the objective is that you and I, as we age, we continue to live a life that is vibrant, filled with vitality. There is no sense in going through life sick and tired of being sick and tired. So many times as we age, we don't even know how bad we feel until we start feeling good again. Sounding familiar? Look, if it's HRT, a simple blood test can let you know if you're a candidate for ED treatment. They got so many options for you. You can do it over telemed, no contracts, lowest prices. What do you got to lose? Start living again. Go to yourgoodwood.com for Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness, yourgoodwood.com.
At Bayou Automotive, a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
And Happy New Year from our friends over at Decision Critical. Blazia and the whole staff. Got to celebrate Christmas with them at their Christmas party. Just awesome people. If you find yourself in need of concierge nursing, there's just nobody better. From you're bringing home a baby and you need some help around the house, to end-of-life care and everything in between. Having surgery, have an elderly parent living with you and wondering how you're going to navigate all that, Decision Critical has answers. It's healthcare for your lifestyle. DecisionCriticalBR.com. DecisionCriticalBR.com. Clemson has signed Jeremiah Alexander out of the transfer portal. That's notable for 2 reasons. Number one, that's the 3rd player out of the transfer portal Clemson has signed in this cycle, when they didn't sign a single player out of the portal a year ago. Also notable because LSU opens up next season against Clemson. So you're going to hear me say this a lot. Between now and August, we're going to talk a lot about Clemson football because that's LSU's next football game. So what Clemson does this offseason, players that go pro, that stay, Kate Klubnik staying. They fired their defensive coordinator. You get a key player out of the portal. Yes, we're going to talk a lot about Clemson this offseason, just like last offseason. We paid a lot of attention to Southern Cal. So Jeremiah Alexander also notable because he left Alabama. This was a 5-star edge. He was the number 1 edge in the country for the class of 2022. He was number 18 nationally. He was the number 1 edge. He was a 5-star, signed with Bama and Nick Saban. But in 3 years in Tuscaloosa, had a total, 3 years, 5-star recruit, 3 years total of 9 tackles. No sacks, no TFLs. He was just a reserve backup role player, a true miss from the recruiting services. A guy that was a 5-star for everyone, the number 18 overall prospect in the country. Just never materialized in Tuscaloosa. See if there's a path to the field with a new defensive coordinator at Clemson. It is interesting, though, when a defensive player, commits to a school when you don't have a defensive coordinator. And the head coach is not a defensive coach. So he can tell you what style of defense maybe they're thinking about running, but until that coach is there, never really truly know how that's going to work. But former 5-star Jeremiah Alexander from Alabama, he is headed to Clemson. All right, it is After Further Review. We are glad to have you aboard with us here. Always encourage you to reach for some delicious Evermore. Always have my Evermore with me during the show. EVAMOR. EVAMOR, Evermore.com. Thanks to everybody who has tried Evermore. You're picking it up at the store, at the gas station. You're tweeting me pictures. You're sharing me pictures of Evermore. You're out at restaurants. You're seeing bartenders with Evermore on the back bar right there by the cash register taking pictures. And these are things that have actually happened. So I appreciate it very much. I encourage you all the time. If you drink bottled water, okay, great. Do a taste test, a side-by-side of whatever it is you drink now with Evermore. I promise you'll never go back. And I really like the fact that it's a wide-mouth bottle. Makes drinking it even easier. Evermore. EVAMOR, Evermore.com. Okay, let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference. The Texas Longhorns.
Cameron Williams, big Texas offensive tackle, will be available for the semifinal on Friday. Pete Thamel with the news. He is dealing with a knee sprain, but is expected to be back on the offensive line for the Cotton Bowl against Ohio State. Williams has played in 37 games during his time there at Texas, with 23 starts on the offensive line.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
It's a bit of a 180. Carson Beck is expected to enter the transfer portal. The Georgia quarterback had previously declared for the NFL draft, now says, well, it's being reported, I should say. Beck hasn't made it official, but On3 was the first to have it, that Beck is expected to enter the transfer portal. Two-time national champion, has been the starting quarterback at Georgia the last 2 years, thrown for 28 touchdowns with 12 picks, tore his UCL in the SEC championship game, could still enter the NFL draft. He's got options now with this portal news, but it looks like Beck could very well be returning to college next year.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
Big get for Clark Lee. Eli Stowers, the All-SEC tight end, says he will return to Vanderbilt for the 2025 season. He caught 49 passes for over 600 yards this season, a season-high 133 in the upset of Alabama back on October the 5th. That's a big get for Clark Lee and Vanderbilt, getting Eli Stowers back for another season.
The Auburn Tigers.
Auburn has officially announced the hiring of TJ Rushing and Rock Bellantonio. Not Bellantonio, Bellantoni. I added a vowel. See, someone who lives with that every day of my life, with people who can't handle the vowels in Moscona. I just added a vowel to Bellantoni. Rushing will coach safeties. Bellantoni will coach outside linebackers and edge.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
West Virginia transfer wide receiver Traylon Ray has picked the Ole Miss Rebels. Spent 2 years at West Virginia, 426 yards receiving this past season. He'll have 2 years of eligibility left there at Oxford. He was a 4-star prospect in the class of 2023. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Thursday shows brought to you by Decision Critical. Learn more at DecisionCriticalBR.com, DecisionCriticalBR.com. Let me break so I stay on time. But when we come back, the Pels were pummeled. But I'll give you. I don't even care very much about the game. I just want to play a clip from Todd Graffinini on the broadcast last night, which was hilarious. So I love when I can say, "Get me Graf!" Yeah, you're right. There it is. I love whenever we have an opportunity. We just haven't. we just haven't had an awful lot of opportunities to hear from Graf. I mean, when you're the worst team in the Western Conference, it's hard to
drum up interest, drum up excitement.
I mean, you're like trying to shoehorn something in there. Like Zion coming back became something notable that we could talk about, but dog, they gave 75 points in the first half yesterday.
Yeah, it was rough.
It was really bad.
To Portland, who's also not very good.
Yeah. But anyway, so Graf had a hilarious clip yesterday that I want to play for you. We'll do that. But I do want to follow up on Carson Beck because I want to explain what I think is happening there with the Carson Beck news. We'll talk about it. It's AFR. AFR is brought to you by River City's 1 hour air, where they're always on time, or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. Look, y'all, we're experiencing it right now. This Arctic blast that's come through here, which means we've cranked up our heaters. And so many people turn on their heater without making sure it's safe and efficient to run. It's not too late. Funny noises, funny smells from that heater. Call River City's 1 hour air. They'll send a technician over, one of the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. And you know whoever it is that comes to your home is going to be expertly trained, and they're going to give you great service. It's River City's 1 hour air. Teddy Zabinski sent this 5-star Google review about Joseph, the technician. Joseph was very professional and knowledgeable. He explained everything to me that he observed. I'm very pleased with his service. From Teddy. Another 5-star Google review. Yours could be next. Just call River City's 1 hour air. 752-0001, where they're always on time, or you don't pay a dime.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Parish Construction and Roofing. This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Wrapping up hour number one. So, in around the SEC, we just talked about the story. Carson Beck, the Georgia quarterback, has reportedly will enter the transfer portal. So, right before the Sugar Bowl last week, Beck announced that he was declaring for the NFL draft. So now a week later, he's expected to enter the transfer portal. And so the initial thought is, okay, well, he's staying in school. I don't necessarily think that's the case. I think what Carson Beck has done here has just given himself options. Remember, every player that enters the portal, the deadline was December the 28th, but you have 5 days after your team's last game with an extended portal window. Well, that window has expired for Georgia. They played last Thursday. So Tuesday of this week would have been the 5-day window for Georgia. So Beck can't formally enter the portal until the spring portal window. So he can say, I intend to enter the portal, but he can't formally enter the portal until the spring window. And remember, as we learned last year, there's an SEC rule that prohibits players from transferring within the SEC in the spring portal window. If you're going to transfer within the conference, it has to happen in the December portal window. So if Beck does come back to school, he's either going back to Georgia or he's going to play outside the SEC somewhere. Where? Don't know. But it's also worth noting that it doesn't really matter if Beck is at a new school for spring football because he had UCL surgery. He's not playing in the spring anyway. But what he could do is have an understanding, an agreement of where he's going to go. He can go enroll at that school for the spring semester and still be out there observing, during spring drills or meeting with coaches or any of that sort of stuff. So if that's what he chooses to do. But maybe of greater consequence is we're coming up on the 15th, so 6 days from now is the underclassmen deadline to declare for the draft. So you don't have to make that deadline is the 15th. So even though Beck announced he was going to the draft, now he's entering the portal. Like the formal deadline, where if you're going and there ain't no turning back, like at Field of Dreams, when you walk across those rocks, you can't come back. I mean, you went from Archie Graham to Moonlight, the old doctor. Like you're done. You can't go back. That's the 15th. So we ain't there yet. So my guess is what Beck is doing here. He's evaluating the feedback that he got from the NFL Draft Advisory Committee. And he's saying, okay, well, I know what the NFL thinks about me right now. What if I put out there that I'm going in the portal, it's open season, let me see what offers come in. Let me gauge what opportunities. What if there's a program out there that could potentially be a contender that says, come back, be our quarterback in 2025, we'll pay you 7 figures, show that you're still good, and you've rehabbed the elbow, have a good season, cut down the interceptions, and then next year, go be the first pick in the draft. I'm not saying he will be. I'm just saying that could be part of his thinking, his thought process there. So while Carson Beck is expected to enter the transfer portal, I don't think that necessarily means he's closing the door on the NFL. I think he's just leaving his options open. So we'll just continue to follow that. Again, next week on the 15th is the deadline for underclassmen to enter the draft. With one caveat, the teams that play in the national championship game have an extended window until I believe the 24th or maybe the 25th to declare for the draft. So the two teams that will play in the championship game a week from Monday on the 20th, they'll have an extended window. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. And we are brought to you by First South Farm Credit. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. You can always visit firstsouthland.com. That's firstsouthland.com. Maybe you live in New Orleans, growing a family, thinking of moving to the North Shore and commuting like so many people do now. You want that rural lifestyle while you work in the city? First South Farm Credit. They've got a branch in Tangipahoa. That easy. Go meet with someone in your community, buy those 10 acres, 20 acres, build your family's dream home, and commute into the city. It's a lifestyle that a lot of people choose, and that First South Farm Credit has helped make a reality for more than 100 years. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Start at their website at firstsouthland.com. That's firstsouthland.com. The Pels got pounded last night. They gave up 75 points in the first half. But opportunities like that breed great opportunities for our guy Graf.
10-4 Portland. They got a quick start, and they haven't missed. They're 4-4 from the floor. Advia right, corner three. No good. Pop the champagne. Rebound Misi.
What a beauty. I was listening to it live, and I almost drove off the road. Pop the champagne. That kind of year for the Pelly Pels. Hour 2 is next.
AFR.
Pop the champagne. Hey, pop the champagne. There's a great deal over at South Point Volkswagen, but isn't there always? SouthPointVW.com, SouthPointVW.com. Hey, as we move into this new year, if you're thinking of buying a vehicle, you have got to go check out the inventory at South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland, SouthPointVW.com. They are Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer, and right now, it's the New Year's sales event. How about this? 1.9% for 60 months. It's 5 years. 1.9% for 60 months on Crossport. 1.9% for 60 months on Atlas. Go down the line. 4.9% for 60 months on a 2025 Jetta or a $1,000 customer bonus. Go see all of the dealer details, but I tell you all the time. At South Point Volkswagen, they do more inventory so they can give you the best deals and the best selection. South Point Volkswagen.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. The Ravens will play their wild card game against the Steelers Saturday night without their top wideout, Zay Flowers. He's out with a right knee injury. Falcons GM Terry Fontenot says the team is comfortable moving into next season with Kirk Cousins as their backup quarterback behind Michael Penix Jr. 2025 will be the last year of Cousins' contract with guaranteed money. Notre Dame and Penn State at the Capital One Orange Bowl tonight, the first semifinal in the college football playoff. Irish quarterback Riley Leonard.
This group is just, a collection of guys who live for this moment. You come to Notre Dame and no conference. This is our conference championship. This is what we strive for every single year. And, we're finally here. We're not going to take it for granted.
More of that Riley Leonard interview on our ESPN radio coverage of Notre Dame and Penn State, which starts at 7 Eastern. The game also on ESPN and the app. Tonight's NBA game in Los Angeles between the Lakers and the Hornets postponed because of the wildfires in L.A. County.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming on Friday. I'll tell you the one reason that'll keep each playoff team from reaching the Super Bowl. It's Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's rock!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR. Presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Now, Mike Triplet, 30 minutes from right now, post-mortem on the Saints season and what Mike thinks so far about the Saints coaching search. For what it is worth, just minutes ago, the New England Patriots did announce they have conducted an interview with Mike Vrabel. So the way this process kind of works right now is you have reports of interest or reports of a requested interview, and then when an interview does actually happen, the teams themselves will disclose we have conducted an interview with fill-in-the-blank candidate. So Vrabel is a guy that is on everybody's list. He's not at the top of my list, but I think that's kind of irrelevant because I think Mike Vrabel is going to be the Patriots head coach. I think this is a total opinion, not rooted in anything concrete. I just think the reason that New England fired Gerard Mayo is they knew they had their guy. Like, you don't make that brash of a decision after 1 year when you knew you had a rebuild, you knew you had a rookie quarterback, you knew you had roster issues. Their projected win total in Vegas was 4 games. They won 4 games. You don't do that unless you know you have your guy. So I think they have their guy. I think it's Mike Vrabel. I think he's going to get hired, and we'll see if I'm right. I could be wrong. So we'll follow that. But Vrabel's one of the guys just worth following because as every available open coaching job now, and there are 6 as they conduct interviews and near their candidate, that sort of, it's like musical chairs. There's 6 chairs. So there's all these candidates. As the candidates start to sit, pull a chair away. I mean, it's who's left. So it's all relevant to the Saints. So we'll follow it. All right, it is after further review. Glad you're with us here. One of the candidates who's an NFL coach, who might be an LSU coach, is Tommy Rees. I'll talk about in just a quick second. But really quickly, the first of the 2 college football playoff semifinals are tonight. Marcus Freeman on the opportunity for his squad.
Looking forward to a great opportunity tomorrow night versus a extremely good football team. As Coach Franklin said, I have a lot of respect for him and the job he's done in college football. And this football team is a very good one that we have to continue to prepare for. We've got to use these next 24 hours to finish our preparation in anticipation of this great opportunity that lies ahead.
Notre Dame is could very well be somewhat shorthanded. Jeremiah Love, their fantastic running back, who rushed for over 1,000 yards on the season, 16 touchdowns. He's the one who had the 98-yard touchdown run against Indiana in that first-round college football playoff game. Matt Fortuna tweeted this just a bit ago, per Molly McGrath on College Football Live. He wrote this quote, so I'll use this tweet here. In their final practice ahead of the semifinal game, Love, was a full participant. He was taking reps with the starters, moving really well on the knee. Love's been wearing a brace in practice all week, but told me he hopes not to have to wear that brace. If he's not wearing it in the game, it'll show he's really confident in his knee, and he'll be playing without hesitation. So that's massive. I mean, this is a Notre Dame offense that is the least potent of the four remaining teams. It's actually kind of remarkable what Mike Denbrock has cooked up there this year, considering you have a limited passer in Riley Leonard, and you really don't have weapons on the perimeter. But if you take Jeremiah Love away, and he was injured in the game against Georgia in the quarterfinals down the Sugar Bowl a week ago today, if he's unavailable or in any way limited, that further handicaps this Notre Dame offense. So something worth filing away. Also, we'll have Otterlocks coming up in hour 3, but Jimmy already has filed his plays. They're up at louisianasports.net. They're always free, louisianasports.net. You can go get Otterlocks up there. But he does have a play on the side, a play on the total, and he has prop bets, 2 prop bets as well. So you can go get those up at louisianasports.net. Otterlocks always free over at louisianasports.net. Did he miss? Looking at Otterlocks here, I think Hunt might have omitted. Okay. He omitted one of the prop bets. I'll make sure we update it because there's 2 prop bets Otter had for this game. All right, it's after further review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. We have spent so much time over the last month talking about LSU's transfer portal prowess. The Tigers have added 14 players via the portal. They've got the number 1 portal class in the country. Everyone is gushing about this team and their possibilities next year because of the work they have done in the portal. It's really interesting as well because this isn't a quantity play for LSU. This is very much a quality play. For example, our guy Chris Marler over at louisianasports.net does these updated portal numbers every week. And so he's done the players leaving the portal for the SEC and the players signed. For example, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. LSU is 8th in the SEC in the number of players signed. There are 7 teams in the league that have signed more players in this portal cycle than LSU. State has signed 21. Arkansas signed 19. Ole Miss, Kentucky, 16. Missouri, Oklahoma, Auburn, 15. Then LSU at 14. So LSU's got the number 1 portal class in the country, despite only having 14 players. That goes to show you quality over quantity. A shift from what we've seen early for Brian Kelly. It was quantity. It was numbers. Then they reduced the numbers, but didn't really have the quality. Now you've kept the numbers similar. You've bumped it a smidge. You were 9 last year, at 14 right now. But it's been more the quality that you've been able to add. So we've talked a ton about the portal. What we haven't talked a lot at all really about is the vacant position on Brian Kelly's staff. And Slade Nagel, a month ago, left LSU after 1 season to go be the offensive coordinator for Willie Fritz at the University of Houston. It's a promotion. It's a great job. He goes from being a tight ends coach to being an offensive coordinator in a Power 4 league in the Big 12. So hat tip Slade Nagel, no problem with him leaving. It's a promotion. Good on you. But Brian Kelly hasn't moved to replace Slade Nagel on staff. And my opinion, again, I want to be so abundantly clear because some of you continue to mishear what I'm saying. My opinion is that Tommy Rees would make a lot of sense. What we know that is factual, Tommy Rees played quarterback for Brian Kelly at Notre Dame. Brian Kelly hired Tommy Rees at Notre Dame, for which he coached him 6 years. When Brian Kelly was hired at LSU, he tried to bring Tommy Rees with him to Baton Rouge. That is an on-the-record fact. Tommy Rees made the decision to stay in South Bend. It's no secret that Brian Kelly has an affinity for Tommy Rees. They have a long-standing relationship. And that Brian Kelly wanted to hire Tommy Rees in Baton Rouge when he came here in 2022. Rees stayed in South Bend in 22, went to Alabama in 23. Nick Saban retires. Now Tommy Rees is the tight ends coach and passing game specialist for the Cleveland Browns. Well, lo and behold, LSU happens to have an opening for a tight ends coach. And if you've waited a month without interviewing anybody for this job or making any headway there, which stand to reason maybe you were waiting on somebody, maybe an NFL coach for a season to end, perhaps. I'm just connecting the dots here. I'm just piecing this together with a lot of circumstantial evidence that kind of puts the puzzle together in my mind. But again, my opinion. I'm not telling you anything I know. But the Cleveland Browns did fire their offensive coordinator, Ken Dorsey, and multiple reports on Thursday are indicating that the Browns have interviewed Tommy Rees, who's on their staff presently, for that vacant OC job. Now, I don't know what Tommy Rees wants. I have no idea. I can look at his history. He spent 1 year as an NFL assistant. He was a Chargers offensive assistant in 2016 and then jumped back to Notre Dame and was with Brian Kelly until Kelly left and was at Notre Dame until his 1 year at Alabama. So that might stand to reason that maybe Tommy Rees wants to be a college coordinator, then ultimately a college head coach. Or maybe spending this year in the NFL has given him a greater affinity for the NFL, and maybe he wants to stay in the NFL. I don't know. I don't know Tommy Rees. I've never spoken a word to him. I have no idea what he wants. All I can do is piece together circumstantial evidence to try to give you an opinion on what may happen. But it's been a month. Baton Rouge is a big country town. There are small circles around this town and pockets where people speak and talk, and I ain't heard a single other name mentioned, not one. I've not heard I shouldn't say other. I haven't even heard anybody mention Tommy Rees. I haven't heard a name mentioned as a possibility for LSU's tight ends coach. Not one name. So they either got their guy and it's a well-kept secret, or they're waiting on somebody to begin their process. Rees would make a lot of sense, but again, I don't know what Tommy Rees wants. Does he want to stay in the NFL? Does he want to coach college? Is this just a courtesy interview with the Cleveland Browns because he's on staff? And so it's a great opportunity to go through that process, maybe to gain some notoriety. I don't know. We'll find out. But this is one worth watching because it's a guy who coaches the position that you have vacant, who coached under Brian Kelly, played for Brian Kelly, and who Brian Kelly tried to hire once before. So we'll follow what happens there in Cleveland with Tommy Rees because it would make an awful lot of sense if they were looking to bring him to Baton Rouge. All right, it's After Further Review, presented by Decision Critical, Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge. Mike Triplett coming up in 15 minutes from right now. Always love telling you about Parish Restoration. Go to parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. It's that patented, non-toxic dry fog treatment. Tell you about it all the time. I was at the parish office today. Jim Woodworth was having a meeting with the whole Parish Restoration staff. I tell you, if you have mold or think you might, odor, think you might, especially this time of year with cold and flu going around, harmful pathogens, this patented non-toxic dry fog can kill dozens of harmful pathogens, including the virus that causes COVID-19, the flu virus, dozens of other harmful pathogens. So you got something going around a school, an office building, church, workplace, whatever it may be. Call Parish Restoration. Let them come in. They'll spray that fog. Totally safe. You're not cutting sheetrock or anything like that. Moving out furniture, plants. It's safe for everything. They'll spray it. As soon as the fog dissipates, boom, you're back in, clean smelling, free and clear of all those harmful pathogens. It's Parish Restoration. Go to parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com, hit the restoration tab. Parish Construction and Roofing and Parish Restoration. Go to parishbuilt.com. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. Get Mike Triplett in 15 minutes from right now. Get Mike's thoughts on the Saints coaching search, the post-mortem on the season. Dennis Allen's conversation with Jay Glazer, speaking on the record for the first time since he was fired after week 9. So ton to do with Mike Triplett here in about 15 minutes from right now. When we come back, Shane Gillis, the comedian, spoke about his little tiff with Nick Saban on College Game Day. Apparently Saban was really pissed. We'll let you hear that audio. And Deion Sanders, could he jump into the NFL fray? His one condition, you could probably guess it, but there is an asterisk. We'll get to that next on AFR.
After Further Review.
Y'all, we're brought to you by Action Industries. Action, INDINC.com. Action Industries Incorporated. Action Industries, they're a proud partner of LSU Athletics. And I love telling you about all the many different things that Action Industries does, as they have served the petrochemical refinery markets for 40, going on 43 years now, all the plants up and down the river, an exemplary safety record. Look, you don't get inside the fence without an exemplary safety record, and you don't continue to get rehired if you don't do wonderful work. That's Action Industries. But they also offer fabrication shop services. Remember, if it's pipe, structural steel, pressure vessels, which not everyone does, Action Industries does all of that. And when it comes to pipe fabrication, they fabricate in separate shops, alloy and carbon steel. The two sections are segregated. They're ASME certified vessel manufacturer. They've got the RS and U stamps. No place better. It's Action Industries, a proud partner of LSU Athletics.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
The Hooters College Football Bowl Pick'em Challenge presented by Yingling is underway. Make sure to check the leaderboard and your inbox to see if you qualified for the final round of picks and your shot at $1,000 cash and $200 from Hooters. Our grand prize winner will be notified January the 13th. It's the Hooters College Football Bowl Pick'em Challenge presented by Yingling at 1045ESPN.com.
If you were watching the college football playoff first round game with Notre Dame against Indiana in South Bend, night game, they're at Notre Dame Stadium. It was 20 some odd degrees. It was freezing. It was a pretty awesome scene and setting for college football. Well, Shane Gillis, who's a comedian, was the college game day guest or guest picker. If you're not familiar with Shane Gillis, he's actually on a national Bud Light campaign now, the one where you've all seen the commercial where it's like, if you tell the truth, you've been accused of cheating on your test. If you tell the truth, we'll give you this bucket of Bud Light. And then he's like, I'll start. The guy with the mustache, the big, kind of tall, heavyset comedian. That's Shane Gillis. Anyway, Gillis, while he's on set, cracked a couple of jokes about Nick Saban during his time at Alabama, which is funny and certainly appropriate because he's a comedian. You invited a comedian to be on College Game Day. What do you think the comedian's going to do? He's going to tell jokes. But apparently Saban didn't like it first. And by the way, so Gillis was on his podcast and he explained this whole interaction behind the scenes with Nick Saban. First, if you missed it, this is the first joke that Gillis told on game day.
I don't know. This is, it's always with Notre Dame. It's like, here's the big game. Let's hopefully win it. This feels different. Feels like we can win it. Okay. There's some parity now that everybody can pay their players. Notre Dame has a shot. It's not just the SEC. It's not Coach Saban.
It's not just the SEC. It's not just Coach Saban. You could hear all the guys and say, "Oh, well, Saban didn't really love that." Apparently, though, as Saban scoffed, they're walking to the stadium, and Shane tells this whole thing, but effectively, Herb Street and McAfee are telling Gillis like, "Oh no, it's cool, man. He's just joking. He's all good with it." So he get in the stadium, he does it again.
You called him a cheater earlier. I was just joking around. I don't think the SEC paid players ever. Period. Right? I'm joking. Is this not a fun show? No. Serious show? Serious football. Alabama Jones is very serious. No, I'm not serious. Get the whip, Indy.
He called him Alabama Jones, like Indiana Jones, because if you remember, Saban was wearing the Indiana Jones hat. It was freezing anyway. Alabama Jones isn't laughing over it. I mean, we called Nick Saban Alabama Jones, which is objectively very funny. But anyway, and he's right. Like, I'm sorry, I thought it was a fun show. It is a fun show, and he's a comedian. He's supposed to tell jokes. It's totally appropriate. I have no problem with what he said. Like, if you don't want to be roasted, don't bring a comedian on the stage. But so Gillis goes and does the podcast. It's what's it called again? Gillis and Friends or something?
Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast.
There it is. So who's the other guy with him? Matt what?
Matt McCusker. He's just another comedian.
So so Shane Gillis, this is vulgar, by the way, so we had to bleep it. But so just fair warning there. But here's Shane Gillis explaining that whole interaction, what happened with Saban.
That's why I spazzed and talked on Saban, because he was like, "What do you think about the game?" And I was like, "I don't know. Nick Saban cheated." It was just a full spaz.
It was so good, though.
I'd like to explain that, because that was so. After I said that, we had to go into the stadium to sit at the desk. Then I got in there, and right before we go on, he looks at me and he's like, "I heard what you said," and I was like, "Holy shit." And then Herb Street and McAfee were like, "He's just breaking your balls, dude. He loves messing with guys. Like, he's literally just." And I was like, "Oh, all right. I'll with him back." I would have never done that if I thought he was serious.
Yeah.
But they told me he was around, so I started with him. And then as soon as we get done, I tell Herb Street and McAfee, I'm like, "Bro, he was definitely serious." And they were like, "No way he was serious. Go talk to him." So I went up to him after news, like, "You think the SEC dominated because we cheated? That's bullshit." And he spazzed on me.
Weren't you helping him
But
down?
then, so he was still on the stage and I was on the field. So after he yelled at me, I had to help him down. And he looked around to see if anybody else could help him, but I had to help him down.
Because Nick Saban's kind of small and Shane Gillis kind of huge. It's like, "It's all right, Grandpa. Jump into my arms. I'll help you down." Oh, man.
I would love to know if there's video of Nick Saban looking around and trying to avoid being helped by Shane Gillis.
I know this much, bro. The cameras are always rolling.
Yeah.
And then when you're in a stadium with 80,000 people and you're Nick Saban and you're Shane Gillis, someone around there has cameras rolling. I mean, everything, just assume everything is videoed all the time. And then also remember, you got your all 22 cameras that are sitting there filming pregame warm-ups and everything. There is somewhere in the world, there exists a Zapruder film of Shane Gillis helping Nick Saban off the College Game Day.
I need it. I need to see this.
I need to find someone affiliated with College Game Day. I need to get Stanford Steve on this, man.
Yeah.
Steve. And Steve's the kind of guy who would
He would do it.
He would go find it. Or he would at least point you, like he would kind of give you the old, like, the short hair pointer, like just in the right direction of where you need to be looking. Like, it's Steve in accounting. He's the one who's got the key for all of the video. My God, that's so good. You think the only reason we the Chiefs are... No, it's a joke. He's telling a show. It was, I mean, and you did, by the way, too. I mean, everybody did. It wasn't anything everybody else wasn't doing, but still. The demise of Alabama is so much fun to watch. Even as Nick Saban now defend his 7 national championships to a moron comic who's cracking an off-color joke on College game day. It's so good. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're with us. Mike Triplett here in less than 10 minutes. We're brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com. More than 75 years, Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Man, they're awesome. Go check them out on LinkedIn. They do a great job updating their LinkedIn all the time with new content when they're going to be at different events and conferences and all the different services that they offer. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. A really cool video that they got right now. And I love the slogan. At Michelli, we show the world what measurement can do. So great interview, great piece of content they got up with Bobby, the CEO. You can check that out at Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Go check out all of their social media platforms. Follow them. It's Michelli.com, Michelli.com. They're always looking for great new people as well, so you can go to their careers page at Michelli.com. Maybe not even in Louisiana, from sea to shining sea. More than 30 locations across 13 different states. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com, Michelli.com. All right, it's After Further Review, and glad you're with us here. So we talked so much about the Saints coaching search, and we will continue to do that, as a matter of fact, because Mike Triplett will be here in just a few minutes. But NFL coaching searches are going on, and Deion Sanders has not ruled out the possibility of playing or of coaching in the NFL. He was on GMA3, and here's what he said about coaching Shedeur and Shiloh both in 2024.
This season is special because this is it. This most likely, and I'm pretty much 99 to 100% sure, will be the last time that I have an opportunity to coach my kids. Thankfully, the things that I've instilled in them, it won't depart from them.
So with that as the premise, 99 to 100% certain that'll be the last chance he gets to coach his kids, he was asked if he would coach in the NFL, and he threw out a caveat with one very, very, very clear distinction.
But is there a chance that you could head to the NFL?
I know where you're going. You try to go viral, right? Yeah. If I respond, you know we're going viral, right?
I know, right?
You know what? The only way I would consider is to coach my son. Not son. No. Sons. Okay.
Very, very, very clear distinction. Sons. So you'd have to have Shedeur and Shiloh on the same team. Now, Shedeur is going to be a first-round draft pick, might be the number 1 overall pick. Shiloh might not even be a draftable prospect, but I'll say this. LeBron had so much influence that not only did he get Bronny drafted, when respect to Bronny, but Bronny was a role player on a not very good USC team. Without his very famous father, Bronny James, if Bronny James' name was Brad James from Saskatchewan, he ain't getting drafted. But not only did Bronny James get drafted, he got to play in an NBA game because the opportunity for the Lakers to appease LeBron and have LeBron and his son on an NBA court in a regular season game at the same time was pretty awesome. And then they sent him to the G League, and who knows if he'll ever get back, and whatever. But they've achieved what they wanted to achieve. Point is, if the condition of getting Deion to coach Shedeur is Shiloh gets a practice squad spot, somebody's going to make that happen. Like, every roster spot in the NFL is valuable, but somebody is going to make that happen if that's the condition to get Deion to coach their NFL team, if that's the guy they want. Just file it away. Just file it away. All right, it's After Further Review. Mike Triplett next. Stay here.
After Further Review.
Do you know that during carnival season, Rouse's bakes over 600,000 king cakes. That is an absurd amount of king cake dough. The sugary goodness. But that's why you go buy your king cakes at Rouse's. Because when you bake 600,000 king cakes, you're pretty good at it. So go get your king cakes at Rouse's. While you're there, pick up everything else you need. They always have their weekly ad. You can get it at the website. You can go to rouses.com or the app. Hit the weekly ad tab. Right now, so many ways to save. Look, you want chicken wings, $1.99 a pound. The ballpark hot dog buns, 2 for $5. You can go check them out at Rouse's. Always ways you can save. Rouses.com. Rouse's, this feels like home.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Mike! Yeah?
New Orleans Saints coverage with some Mad Libs mixed in.
Why don't you just go by Mike?
It's time to talk black and gold with Mike Triplett of New Orleans Football. Presented by Benny's Car Wash. Family owned and operated since 1951.
Mike, how are you, man?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Glad the NFL, the Saints season anyway.
2025.
Yeah. And the Saints are 0-1 in 2025, but at least there's reason to believe there's reason to believe 2025 will be could be better than 2024. Hope springs eternal. And before we get to the coaching search, let me just ask you. We'll do the post-mortem on the season. I mean, you've covered a lot of these for the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah.
I mean, is this the absolute bottom of the barrel of what you can imagine? Remember, because if I'm not mistaken, your first season was the year after the Katrina year, correct?
No, my first season was Katrina year.
Oh, God.
I got to live in an apartment.
Oh, my God.
I got to live in an apartment in San Antonio and cover that mess. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, I covered a coaching search in January after that led to Sean Payton, and free agency that led to Drew Brees. So, could all happen again.
So, is this one worse than 05?
That was way worse. That was way worse because there was, that team had nothing going for it. That didn't, it had Will Smith and Deuce McAllister, a couple good players to build off of, but, coming back from Katrina, we didn't know until, actually, I remember we found out right before the Week 18 game, which was also, or Week 17 game at that time, which was also in Tampa. We found out the day before that they were actually going to move back to New Orleans. We didn't know until January 4th that year that they were going to move back to New Orleans. So that got things off to a good start. But obviously they were facing much more of an uphill battle than now. But yeah, this is the bleakest it's been since then, obviously, and people want to point to all the main reasons why. The main reason why is they don't have Sean Payton and Drew Brees anymore. Yep. So you need to find another Sean Payton, and you need to find another Drew Brees, or as reasonable a facsimiles as you can. Otherwise, you're going to be one of the have-nots in the NFL, and they are a have-not right now.
Apparently, coaches and quarterbacks in the NFL are pretty important, as we've learned. So,
yeah.
All right. The obvious next step is, so as you sort of try to piece this thing back together into something that can resemble a respectful franchise and organization again, like, where and how do you start doing this, Mike? I mean, that's a good leaping off point because
there's only one way. There's only one way, and you can believe. Well, there's two ways, but you can believe in anything you want as far as how the Saints manage the cap. But it doesn't matter. Like, you can try to win 10 games this year. You can try to win 2 games this year. You have to draft better. You can't get out of this if you don't draft better. It's why it's my number one reason why they're in this mess outside of, losing Brees and Peyton. But they don't have any all pros right now anywhere on the roster. No Pro Bowlers. And the only ones who even come close to qualifying are, Tyrann Mathieu, Demario Davis, Cam Jordan, Alvin Kamara, and they don't have all pros and Pro Bowls in their future. So they need more talent. They're not getting it out of it without more talent. And then they need a really good coach and a really good direction now. The one good thing is, look at a team like the Denver Broncos and Sean Payton. Speaking of him again, but they went and it kind of seemed like a joke when they cut Russell Wilson and took on his $85 million dead hit or whatever, and it was the biggest dead money hit of any player ever. But he had a plan, and he picked a quarterback that fit his plan, and nobody thought, they had an overwhelming amount of talent there, and they made it work. So maybe you hire the right coach, it can come together pretty quickly. But you got to draft better. You got to not only find a quarterback, you got to find a couple all pros, which they had done for 15 years around here, and they haven't done recently.
Mike, could I argue that they have actually drafted pretty well, but what they've done poorly is retention? Trey Hendrickson, Caden Ellis, David Onyemata, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I could run through a whole bunch of dudes who are good NFL players that you drafted that aren't playing for you.
And you didn't mention Zach Bond, but
Zach Bond.
I think Hendrickson's the only one on that list that is like true that level of player. I don't know that Chauncey Gardner-Johnson or Caden Ellis is turning this franchise around, and I cannot explain Zach Bond. I really can't. I don't know how he became the best linebacker in the NFL. But yeah, obviously they missed on those guys, but mostly they've missed on the first rounders. And their use of first and second round picks to package them up and trade them up. They gave one away in a first rounder away in the Davenport deal. They gave away a second rounder, or maybe even a third rounder. I can't even remember how all the math added up when they got Olave and Penning. And then they missed on Davenport, Peyton Turner, Trevor Penning to an extent. Cesar Ruiz wasn't a home run.
Yeah.
You need 4 or 5 new young cornerstones on the team that they just don't have right now.
Mike,
you got to start adding those guys.
Are they committed as an organization to a full-on rebuild?
I don't. We'll find out. I think they'll be closer to that than they've ever been before. Full-on rebuild. I'd say yes and no. I mean, I don't think they are going to stockpile 14 draft picks and trade away everyone on the roster. I don't think they're going to tank to try to get the first pick in the draft. But, I mean, they have no choice but to rebuild. That's where they are. I mean, there's two schools of thought on whether you try to keep winning along the way or whether you try to speed up the process. I don't think they're going to speed up the process. I think the major decision in my mind is what to do with Derek Carr. I think you can rebuild an organization without ever fully bottoming them out. But my opinion on this is you kind of look like you're going to bottom out anyway. You have no way around it, so you might as well save the money in the meantime and catch up on the cap even more while doing so.
Yeah, this isn't the bottom, by the way. Yeah, I think to the point you're saying, I agree with you. Like,
yeah.
there is still room to go to the very bottom of this. So, and Mike Triplett's our guest, NewOrleans.football, with us courtesy every Thursday during football season of Benny's Car Wash, bennyscarwash.com. So you mentioned Derek Carr. My preference was that they didn't restructure him last year, and he was done after this year. But they did it, so do you do it again? What do you do with Derek Carr?
Yeah, well, I mean, the first question is, do you keep him? Do you pay him? And, like, you will find a way around the salary cap. You know, it might mean you're taking the whole year off. You're not signing any new free agents. You're restructuring everybody else. You have to take a dead money hit. If you decide you're willing to do that, I say go for that. But the big question isn't whether to restructure him or not. It's whether to pay him $40 million more. Like, that's what he's due this year.
Unbelievable.
10 of it is guaranteed. $30 million is not guaranteed. So, yeah, there's a huge salary cap hit. His salary cap hit is $50 million, but that's dead money from previous bonuses already paid out. It becomes $90 million that you have to count for over the next couple of years, or $80 million actually. I'm already counting the $10 million bonus, but you save future cap money and you save cash if you cut him. So that's the big question is you have to treat it like, is this guy worth $40 million or isn't he? And I don't want the cap dictating that decision. I want, is this guy worth $40 million dictating that decision?
What do you think?
I don't think he is. Now, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say he's not worth $40 million. The way NFL salaries are right now, Baker Mayfield signed the exact same contract as Derek Carr. Geno Smith is close. Kirk Cousins was bigger. And we're talking about like the 18th, 19th, 20th biggest contracts in the NFL. So he's kind of getting paid, you know, where he deserves to be paid. I think he's kind of underrated. I don't think the Saints should be paying any quarterback anywhere near that much money. I don't think they should go after Sam Darnold in free agency. I don't think they should want to pay any quarterback $40 million with their current state of the team.
Okay, so what do they do at quarterback next year? Because I'm with you, and I'm assuming, and I'm just being blindly and willfully ignorant here and hoping that the New Orleans Saints cut Derek Carr. So what do they do at quarterback?
Well, I mean, the first thing is, if you do it, you really have you're restructuring everyone else on the cap just to fit under the cap. You really don't have much money to play with, so you really can't spend any new money at all. You would have to sign a veteran, but that is one of the good things is veterans come really cheap. You know, $5 million or less. Maybe it's Jimmy Garoppolo. Maybe it's bringing Andy Dalton back. Maybe it's Justin Fields or Zach Wilson that you're taking a stab on. But you're also probably going to Spencer Rattler for a year and saying, hey, we're taking this year off and retooling. Let's go ahead and throw him out there and let him learn under fire. So I think those two decisions would go hand in hand.
A couple more for you. We always do the exercise, and we'll have more time to do this, but they'll have to get within cap compliance. Who are the primary candidates for a restructure?
Well, restructure is if you're going to play on this team next year, your contract's going to get restructured. Like, it just has to be done to get under the $60 million. So, if you keep everybody, then you don't necessarily have to do it with everyone. But it's sort of like Derek Carr or everybody else, I feel like. But, yeah, I mean, if DeMario Davis is going to play, they'll restructure. Cesar Ruiz, they'll restructure. I don't even take that. Like, I don't think that kills you for the future. That number actually gets a little smaller every year. The cap goes up every year. That part doesn't worry me as much as who are you paying new money to. The reason you never get out of this is if you just keep paying players new money. And so the big decisions to me, I think, are Derek Carr, number one, Cam Jordan, number two. And he's already said he's willing to take a pay cut. I think that's a very realistic possibility that he takes a very significant pay cut that matches the role of a number three defensive end and a part-time player that he's becoming. And Taysom Hill, because of the major injury, and he's got one more year and $10 million left on his deal. I'm curious if the next coach, the next coordinator, his health, his age, I wonder if he's still worth $10 million. But I think DeMario Davis will be back. I think Tyrann Mathieu will be back. I'm very sure Alvin Kamara will be back. And then you're getting down to lower guys who probably won't be back. Maybe one guy out of Nathan Shepard, Colin Saunders, Jamal Williams, like Cedric Wilson. You may be cutting a few of those guys, but they're making very small salaries.
Mike, before you go, who should be the coach? Who will be the coach?
I think Aaron Glenn is definitely a front runner, and I am not worried about that just means they're lazy and they only want to pick people who've worked here before. I'm not worried about that with him because I think there's a main. I think he's probably ranked as the number three choice around the league behind Mike Vrabel and Ben Johnson for good reason. I mean, he's coming from the program that's doing everything right. He's a former Parcells guy. He's the leader of men type, respected by players. Feel like you'll build a culture with him. And I think that's what the Saints need. I personally like the culture builder path. I think they're going to lean toward the culture builder path. But a lot of these candidates are offensive coordinator types. Cliff Kingsbury, Kellen Moore, Mike Kafka that they're bringing in. So, maybe it'll be about it. Either way, I hope it brings a new identity to the team because that's what they so badly need.
That is the concern with bringing in someone with ties to the Peyton Breeze era is it doesn't change the identity, but I tend to agree with you.
I feel like Aaron Glenn would, though. Like, just because he worked for them, I don't think it'd be like hiring Joe Lombardi. You know what I mean? It's like Aaron Glenn was here for 4 years, but I don't think he is, a Xerox of Sean Payton.
Mike Triplet, NewOrleans.football. You'll get him on Twitter at Mike Triplet. And, of course, our chats all year brought to you by Benny's Car Wash. Hey, man, we appreciate you for doing this every Thursday. It's always a lot of fun and insightful, and we'll catch up somewhere down the road.
All right. Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks. That's Mike Triplet. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel. You hear me say it every day. Two amazing hotel properties, Watermark Downtown, Renaissance Southtown, Watermark Downtown, Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge's premier hotel property, gorgeous. Actually, I would really encourage you to do this as well. Go to the Watermark and check out the river views from atop the Watermark. I mean, you get these gorgeous panoramic 360 views. And, of course, if you look to the west, you get these unobstructed western-facing Mississippi River views, awesome during a sunset look into the west. I mean, the Watermark is Baton Rouge's original high-rise building. It was the old Louisiana National Bank building in downtown Baton Rouge. They've converted it now into this gorgeous premium hotel, which is Baton Rouge's premier hotel. The Gregory is a great dining experience there in the lobby. The lobby bar is a great place to have a glass of wine or a cocktail. If you haven't done it, why not? Go downtown and check out the Watermark Hotel.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Wrapping up hour number 2. Always big shout out to Decision Critical. Healthcare for your lifestyle, concierge nursing. Remember, Wednesdays they have their B12 shots in clinic. They could do IV hydration therapy anywhere. They come to you. So especially during cold and flu season, if you've been sick, you're feeling run down, you want to boost your immunity and hydrate, an IV is a great way to do that. And Decision Critical's nurses can come to you, your home, your office, wherever. DecisionCriticalBR.com. DecisionCriticalBR.com. Muso, Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
Major tip of the hat to Brian Thomas Jr., named the NFL's Rookie of the Month for December through January. Over the course of the 6 games played in those months, led all rookies in receptions, receiving yards, and receiving yards per game. He was second in touchdowns. Of course, this season became just the 4th rookie in the Super Bowl era with at least 1,100 receiving yards and 10 touchdowns. He joined Odell Beckham Jr., former LSU Tiger, Jamar Chase, former LSU Tiger, and, of course, Randy Moss. He didn't stink. Shout out Brian Thomas. Huge tip of the hat to Joe Burrow, named the Offensive Player of the Month in the AFC, of course, over the same six-game stretch. Burrow's 76% completion, almost 1,900 yards, 16 touchdowns, and a passer rating of a 111.2. Second career Player of the Month award for Joe Burrow, and his second this season. Of course, he went in November, so back-to-back for Joey B. Get that man a defense. Tari Eason officially doubtful for the game Thursday night against the Grizzlies. Of course, he's been dealing with a left leg injury, has missed 10 consecutive games. If he is, in fact, ruled out officially for the game against the Grizzlies tonight, that will be 11. Ime Udoka did go on the record, say there's a possibility you could see him tonight, but he is officially doubtful. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Parish Construction and Roofing. Do business with someone you know. Parish Construction and Roofing. Go to parishbuilt.com. Big shout out. The Best of Baton Rouge is being voted on right now. Parish Construction and Roofing has been nominated for Best of Baton Rouge. So if you are going to vote, we'd appreciate that. Got the link on all of our social medias. We're thrilled to be able to help so many of our friends and neighbors and relatives and coworkers and families around all of our communities in Louisiana. If you have a roof issue or think you might, we'd love to help you out. when the rain comes, and it's supposed to rain today, if you find out that you've got a roof issue, because as I tell you all the time, there's only 2 ways to find out if you got a roof issue. Let us come do a free, no-obligation roofing inspection, or wait till it rains and get water in your house. One of those options is better than the other, but most people just wait till they got water in their house. And if that's you, we'd love to help. Go to parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Go to the homepage of the website. You'll see a video of Kim Mulkey doing her testimony. We've done work for Coach Mulkey and members of her family as well. We'd love to help your family if you have a roof issue. Commercial roofing as well, repairs, maintenance, full roof replacements. We do it all. Parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Do business with someone you know. Parish Construction and Roofing. Go to parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Hour 3 after SportsCenter.
AFR.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. College football playoff semifinal number 1 at the Capital One Orange Bowl tonight in Miami. Penn State plays Notre Dame. ESPN's Chris Budden believes a Nittany Lions win would be important for head coach James Franklin.
They know the noise is there of you can't win the big one. So, regardless of the fact that this is a semi playing for a national championship, just being able to say you beat a top 5 team would mean a lot to what his resume is at State College.
Chris Budden on game night. She'll be on the sidelines tonight. Coverage of Penn State and Notre Dame starts at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio, TV, and the app. Georgia quarterback Carson Beck will enter the transfer portal. Less than 2 weeks ago, he declared for the NFL draft, but he's now recovering from right elbow surgery. Ravens leading wideout Zay Flowers out for Saturday night's wildcard game against the Steelers. He has a right knee injury. The Raiders fire GM Tom Telesco today after 1 year. This move comes just 2 days after the team fired head coach Antonio Pierce.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. At Progressive, they're making things even easier. They'll help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you can save on both. Learn more at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
That's right!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Toppmeyer. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you're driving home with us. 90 minutes away from the college football playoff semifinal down to the Orange Bowl with Notre Dame and Penn State. We did just hear the "You're a Loser, Matt, Shut Up, Kid" drop, which reminded me there was big. For those that don't know, that is Larry Holder's son from many years ago. Was it 4 years ago, 5 years ago? That's been a hot minute. That's right. It's been years.
Yeah, no, that has been a long.
That might be pre-COVID. I don't. Anyway, but
might be.
So Larry on Twitter, our friend Uncle Larry, who while he was covering the Saints was a weekly contributor on the show, left his coverage of the Saints to cover the NFL for The Athletic. Well, Larry had some news today on Twitter X. Today, he notes, is my last day covering the NFL, Saints or league-wide, after 19 seasons, the last 7 with The Athletic. He writes, I can't express my appreciation enough for everyone who's been with me along the way. He notes, am I leaving The Athletic, though? No chance. So what's next? In due time. Ellipses. For those that don't know, the ellipses are the ... I'm told Larry's leaving to become a better, more attentive father.
I think Larry's a great father. What are you talking about?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's raising heathens.
No.
Man, play that again, Muse. Let me ask you this question.
You're a loser, Matt!
Let me ask you this, adult humans. If your young child was yelling at an adult male who had never even met, yelling, you're a loser, dancing around, throwing up the L on his forehead. I mean, this is a proper society. Oh, you raise him in a barn?
No, come on. He's just having a little fun. He's a kid. Kids are supposed to have fun.
When I was a kid, if I yelled at an adult, you're a loser, and called him by the first name without the Mr. prefix, my dad had taken a belt to my ass. Got news for you.
Yeah, that wouldn't have gone over too well for me either.
Yeah.
But
How would Timothy Orenthal Musso have done?
Orenthal,
right?
easy. Come on, bro.
Sorry about that.
Orenthal, dang.
Sorry.
Also, Timothy, goodness, not even close.
No?
But, yeah, I wouldn't have, I wouldn't have gone. That would have been one of those.
Jackson Musso.
That would have been one of those wait till your dad gets home type. It's never good, man.
So many of those.
That was just never good.
Yeah. So Musso, imagine young Matthew Ricardo Musso
I kind of wish it was Ricardo. That's awesome.
is at home, knocked off of school, got some after dinner or after school programming on TV. Marilyn Monroe Musso is in the kitchen making dinner. And there's young Matthew Musso. Matthew Alabaster Musso.
Alabaster. I don't even think that's a name.
Just made it one.
Yeah.
And shouts at an adult. Play that. Shouts at an adult. Yeah. What do you think Marilyn Monroe Musso's coming into the living room and saying to you?
Man, probably not. Like, she wouldn't curse at me, but it would have been. What are you thinking? Are you out of your mind? And then wait till your dad gets home type deal.
So now, let's jump in the DeLorean, crank that thing up to 88. Muse, go back about 3 minutes ago. You want to revisit your commentary after I said Larry Holder's leaving the Athletic to become a more attentive father?
Look.
So he stops raising these heathens who yell at adult humans with that sort of nonsense?
We don't know that Larry didn't discipline his kid for that. We weren't there. We weren't there.
He took a video of it and posted it on Twitter.
That's actually a valid point.
We got it?
That is a fair point. I'm just saying everyone makes mistakes. I don't think that shouldn't be used as an entire
and what
commentary.
happens when you make that mistake?
It shouldn't be used as an entire commentary on Larry's parenting.
Mm-hmm. The fact that he took that video and put it on Twitter is the commentary.
Again, that's a valid point.
Matthew Bernard Musso.
No.
Speechless. I don't know what Larry's going to do, though. He's staying with the Athletic, but he'll do something else. My guess. Why did you laugh?
Because I don't know if you're about to be serious or not. Go ahead. Your guess is?
I texted him earlier today, and I said, what did I say to him?
When you can just read the text.
Well, my phone's down there on the charger. You can give me a second. I'll grab it.
Yeah, go ahead. We're gonna find out what Matt said to Larry. Yeah.
So I said to Larry, hold on, I gotta find it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Let's see.
The phone goes
there
off plenty.
No idea. Oh, that's what I said. I said, yo, you covering the MLS now?
Oh.
What's that?
What? I don't. I mean, why would Larry? I don't understand. Why would Larry cover the MLS?
What else is he gonna cover?
I don't know. But I mean, why would he cover the MLS?
New Orleans. He went to Rummel.
We don't have.
He's covering the NFL. He's covering LSU for a minute. Now he's covering the NFL for a minute. And now he's leaving. He's not covering the Saints or the NFL. What am I supposed to imagine he's doing?
Well, we don't even have an MLS team here.
I'm looking for growing sports. Well, I mean, he was covering the whole NFL from New Orleans. I'm just looking at growing sports.
Maybe he's going to cover the NBA or something.
Maybe what he's going to cover is what's the video game league?
Esports is all I know.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the actual league is.
The National Esport League, whatever it's called.
That'd be interesting.
Maybe he's covering esports.
Dude, Larry would probably have some great takes on esports.
He's trying to catch that train.
Yeah.
On the way up. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
All the way up.
I don't think that's the sound that follows that actually at all. Oh no. Oh no, not trophies. Shout out Stephen A. Smith show. Tortured us for years. God. It's so good. I wonder if that's still his intro. It's like the show he does on YouTube now.
Oh, he doesn't do a show anymore.
Well, he does it separate from
he doesn't do the radio show.
Right.
Well, I think he might still do a radio show in New York. I don't know, actually. Okay. we really just went off the reservation.
This was a yard sale.
That's okay. But now I have to explain, because one of the first rules in radio is never have an inside joke from your audience. So this show, After Further Review, ends at 6 p.m. Central Time. And for some time, the Stephen A. Smith Show aired immediately following us. Now, I don't know if he started then, or if it was taped, whatever, but that's when ESPN Radio sent it down on the satellite. And so we finished the show, and then Paul Musso and I are doing post-production. Paul's uploading YouTube videos. Muse is uploading the podcast. We have to record the promos for the next day. So we're in here for 15 minutes or 20 minutes of show after the show every day. And so as soon as AFR ends, and we've got the feed, the air monitor, right? So you get the feed on in studio, and we would hear the intro to the Stephen A. Smith Show, which is... which, as I learned, is Trophies by Drake.
Yeah.
Because I don't, that's just, that's not really my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
But that is such an earworm that we would all find ourselves periodically, just in the middle of the day, silent moment, you just start going. So I guarantee you now, at some point heretofore, Muse, in the next 3 breaks, one of us, when we've long since forgotten this segment, is going to do that.
Yes, we are.
It is absolutely going to happen.
Gonna happen.
All right. Discipline your children. That's the lesson of this segment. Don't be like Larry Holder, raising a bunch of heathens, yelling obscenities at adults.
You're a loser, man!
Shut up, kid. We've made that kid famous, by the way. I guarantee you he goes to school every day and tells all his friends. He's peacocking.
I would do that.
I'm on the radio every day.
I would do that.
Larry Holder, national esports writer. Actually, let's make a poll, Muse. Let's make a Twitter poll.
All right.
What is Larry Holder going to cover? Esports. MLS, WNBA.
Okay, WNBA.
And then maybe other.
Okay.
And if other, maybe like lead
Pickleball.
Oh, that's a good one.
Pickleball.
I still feel like there's got to be an other. I just kicked over my phone.
Okay. I mean, do we want to replace the WNBA with pickleball?
No, WNBA's got to be in there.
Okay.
Show some respect, Muse.
Well, I thought we were talking about rising sports, right?
Why
I mean, they had a great year. I don't hate women.
What would Marilyn Monroe Musso think?
Nothing, because she knows I don't hate women.
I don't know, it kind of sounds like you do.
Did a LSU women's basketball segment on LSU Daily today. Oh, thumbnail on the game tonight.
They play Tennessee.
They do.
You know what? Actually, I have that on. I have that.
There you go.
Look at that. Look at the rundown.
Boom. There it is.
We got to go. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan, injury returns. My goodness, we were supposed to talk about Penn State, Notre Dame there, and instead we did not do that. Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan, injury attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for more than 30 years. Get Gordon and get it done. Always encourage you. Go to the website. Listen, you've heard Gordon in our studio so many times, and it's one of the great things I would say about NIL, from my perspective, is I've gotten to know Gordon, and Gordon is someone that if you live in the state of Louisiana, you have seen and heard from Gordon over the last 30 years. You see him on billboards, you see him on your TV, on commercials, you hear him on radio. But I've gotten to know the person and the man, and he's a great man. He's a genuinely good person that does right by others and has built a giant business and helps a lot of people. So if you've been injured and you need help, you know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
We're grateful to be a part of this prestigious bowl game. I want to thank the Orange Bowl committee for the welcome yesterday. This is my first opportunity to be a part of this game, and as I said last night, your reputation precedes itself.
Marcus Freeman, as the Irish are getting ready to play in the national semifinal. We, I've mentioned this a little bit. The obvious LSU angle with all the Notre Dame conversation is Brian Kelly having been at Notre Dame, and there is a narrative that now with Notre Dame being in the national semifinal, advancing in the playoff, that it was, it wasn't, the problem wasn't Notre Dame, that the problem was Brian Kelly, their inability to break through. And I would actually submit to you that while this is a great season for Notre Dame and very impressive win so far in the playoff, that Marcus Freeman hasn't gotten Notre Dame anywhere further than Brian Kelly did. Brian Kelly took Notre Dame to 2 college football playoffs in the 4-team era and a BCS championship game when it was just 2 teams that made it. They couldn't get through that, and I do think that is and has historically been a Notre Dame problem, and I think that's ultimately going to be what prevents Notre Dame from winning a championship this year, which we'll talk about here in just a second. But I would also submit that if this weren't a 12-team era, this Notre Dame team wouldn't be in the playoff. Like, they were not in the top 4. They would have gone to an Access Bowl, which is what Brian Kelly did in his last 5 years in South Bend when they went to they had 5 straight double-digit win seasons. They had 2 playoff appearances. As a matter of fact, Kelly's final year at Notre Dame, they finished in those final rankings 5th in the country. So they missed the 4-team playoff by 1 spot. So I don't know that. I think the interesting part of the conversation is that so much of it is an anti-Brian Kelly conversation. And we had Blake Toppmeyer here in hour 1. If you missed it, I highly recommend you go check out that interview. It was a fun conversation. Blake has covered the league for a while. Blake has covered Missouri on the Missouri beat. He's been on the Tennessee beat. He now covers college football nationally for USA Today. He does a really good job. But he's got a column up basically saying, hey, if you hate Brian Kelly, be prepared to be enraged because next year LSU's going to be really good. Saying a lot of things that we know and getting Nussmeier back, and then a lot of what they've done in the portal and all that stuff. But the timing is good because you look at Notre Dame on the field tonight, and it'll be a fascinating test case to see who can win this game. And Notre Dame is up against it a bit. as that line has started to move a bit in Notre Dame's favor. It was a pick 'em earlier. Muse, can you check an updated line for me, please? I mean, it was a pick 'em earlier, and I think it's now gone. Last I looked, I think 1.5 in favor of Notre Dame. But check DraftKings and see what the latest line is, if you would. You got it?
Yeah, I am now showing Penn State -1.5.
Oh, Penn State 1.5. Okay, so that, which actually I think does make a little sense. Remember, Notre Dame is on a shortened time frame. Penn State played on New Year's Eve, so Penn State played Wednesday. Notre Dame was supposed to play. Penn State played Tuesday. Notre Dame was supposed to play Wednesday against Georgia. That game got moved to Thursday. So you're really 18 hours behind. You had to travel home and then begin your prep and then go to Miami. So they're behind on preparation. Jeremiah Love, their running back, was injured in the game. He's going to play tonight, but not going to be close to 100% with the knee injury. They lost their best defensive lineman, their best defensive player in that Sugar Bowl as well against Georgia. So you got a banged-up Notre Dame team on short rest to begin with. And if we're being just very frank, Notre Dame, of the remaining teams, on paper, is the least of the four teams. Look at total defense, national ranks, total defense. Ohio State 1, Texas 3, Penn State 6, Notre Dame 8. They're all elite. I mean, they're all top 8 defenses in the country, but Notre Dame is 4th. Total offense, Texas 17th, Penn State 25th, Ohio State 26th, Notre Dame 49th in the country in total offense. And then when you look at, you say, well, who do they do it against? Look at strength of schedule. Ohio State strength of schedule 8, Texas's strength of schedule 11. This has obviously been boosted by the fact that they play these playoff games. Penn State 17, Notre Dame 31. Total offense, Notre Dame lowest. Total defense, Notre Dame lowest. Strength of schedule, Notre Dame lowest. And you can't always help who you play, and I fully understand that. And I have been a defender of Notre Dame's schedule in years past, as people have said and argued they should join a conference and all this stuff. Notre Dame never schedules FCS opponents, and you'll see a G5 pop in there like this year when they lost to Northern Illinois. But you look at the rest of their schedule, they went on the road and played Texas A&M. They lost to Northern Illinois, but they went on the road at Purdue. It's not their fault. Purdue was awful this year. They played Miami of Ohio, but then they played Louisville out of the ACC, who was ranked 15th at the time they played them. They played Stanford out of the ACC, who they play every year anyway. They played Georgia Tech out of the ACC. They played Navy, who was ranked 24th when they played them. Played Florida State, blew them out. Florida State had their worst season maybe ever. They played Virginia out of the ACC. They played Army, who was ranked 19th when they played them. They went on the road and played Southern Cal, who was a 500 football team this year. So I don't fault Notre Dame. I mean, their schedule was littered with tough opponents, which should on paper be tough opponents. They just ended up not having great seasons this year, which kind of, paved a path for Notre Dame to get where they are. What's interesting, because I think you may look at some of the Big Ten opponents and wonder about their strength of schedule. Certainly Indiana is notable because of that. But when you look at strength of schedule, you can also it also does illustrate. Like, for example, we talked about Ole Miss, this year, Texas having a weak strength of schedule. Well, Texas's strength of schedule as of now is 11th in the country according to ESPN. So even while in a comparison to the rest of the SEC, it might be at the bottom of the SEC, but nationally, you still have to go through a grind and a gauntlet, certainly when you include an SEC championship game and then the playoffs as well to get where you are. I do like Penn State in this football game. I think both defenses are really good. I just think Penn State has explosive potential within their offense that Notre Dame doesn't have. And it was so evident being at that Sugar Bowl, because I don't know if this necessarily translates on TV. Mike Denbrock is a very good coach. I think you all know my affinity for him, and the fact that they achieved what they did this year offensively without really explosive, dynamic playmakers on offense is a huge hat tip to Mike Denbrock. But man, I was watching the Georgia game, Notre Dame Georgia, and my brother is a Notre Dame grad. I was there with him watching the game, him and his son. And I was I pointed out, because I find myself not necessarily watching the ball because I didn't really care so much about the result of the game. But I kept watching the receivers, because my point in watching this team all year is that Riley Leonard is just not a very good passer. And he just hasn't had to pass because Notre Dame has won games playing great defense and running the ball and controlling the line of scrimmage and playing with a lead and playing keep away and controlling the clock, and Riley Leonard running the football, which really were the explosive plays in that game against Georgia, was Leonard running the football. But I kept pointing out, I was like, watch your receivers, meaning Notre Dame's receivers. They just don't get separation. And I don't know that gets any better against Penn State. So I do think that the explosive, or I don't think this is necessarily a one-sided game either way. I think you have two very good defenses. I think you have two limited offenses. I just think Penn State has the better offense. So I think it's a close game. I hope it's a really good game, but I do think Penn State will win a close game in this one. James Franklin, meanwhile, who, of course, brought Vanderbilt to lengths and heights it had never achieved. Now at Penn State, who has never, he's never really been able to get over the hump in the big game, but he's won a couple of playoff games. But again, that's why draw is so important, because his playoff games have been against SMU and Boise State. Oregon got a bye and then had to play Ohio State. Ohio State had to play Tennessee and Oregon. Like, that is a much more treacherous path than what Penn State has had to walk. This is a ratcheted up opponent here now with Notre Dame, but I still think Penn State is the better team. Here was James Franklin on playing Notre Dame.
I'm looking over here at Marcus, and how old are you now, Marcus? 38. Look at the hairline on this guy. Envious of his hairline in a lot of ways. But Marcus has done a phenomenal job, and obviously he is the leader of one of the most storied programs in college football history, and so much respect for him and his career and his staff. He's got a great staff. Got great leadership, just like we do at Penn State now.
Otterlocks, by the way, are live. Jimmy's got to play on the side. Muse, when he gave this, I'll just tell you what side he gave it with Penn State +1. So this game is full on moved. All the sharp money coming in now is coming in on Penn State, which is why this is moved. You said it's 1.5 now.
Yeah, 1.5.
So it's gone from Notre Dame as a point favorite all the way to Penn State 1.5, and I still think there's a lot of value there. So Jimmy's got a play on the side, which I just told you he's got Penn State. The total, and he's got 2 prop bets on there as well. So 4 bets for the college football playoff tonight, and a college basketball bet as well. That's all live right now at LouisianaSports.net. If you want to go check out Otterlocks there, you can get it. We'll tell you the plays here in about 15 minutes. But if you want them now to go get your bets in now, you could do it. Go to Otterlocks at LouisianaSports.net, LouisianaSports.net. All right, y'all, we're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com, LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Valentine's Day. Gents, we're a little more than a month away from Valentine's Day. I know. It was just Christmas. You might be licking your wounds. Your pocketbook might be licking their wounds a little bit. But never mind. We got to regroup because Valentine's Day is coming. And if you want to express your love or thrill her this Valentine's Day, you can do it with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. So many men pop the question on Valentine's Day. If that's where you're headed and you're looking for that perfect diamond, you want Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Listen, they're perfect. Look, the box stores, you're not going to get a customized experience. The boutique jewelers, you're just not going to get the selection and you're going to overpay. Lee Michaels is that perfect blend where they're big enough to give you an amazing selection, but they're also small enough to where they're going to be able to give you that amazing customer service experience, the Lee Michaels experience. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com, LMFJ, Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review, and we're glad you're hanging out with us here. We're presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge, DecisionCriticalBR.com. We're not going to break, come back. Muse, Paulie, and I will do a quick wraparound. We always do what to watch for the weekend. We'll do a quick wraparound for the NFL playoffs. 6 games. We'll give you a thumbnail preview of the 6 NFL games, what you should be watching in those. And we got 3 straight days of football. 5, actually, if you include the college football playoffs. But Saturday, Sunday, Monday for the NFL playoffs. So we'll get to that. We'll wrap up with Otterlocks Ask Us What We Learned. So still a lot to do here in this final half hour of the show. Thanks for being with us on AFR.
AFR.
Ooh, it's raining. It's raining, and it's 44 degrees. It's nighttime, it's raining, and it's 44 degrees. When conditions are this awful, I like to let my mind go to a happy place, like Happy Gilmore. My happy place is sitting on one of the bar stools in my pool with a cocktail or ice cold beer, watching the TV in my outdoor kitchen when the sun is shining, enjoying those amazing spring and summer days in Louisiana. That reality can be your reality, and Duplessis Builders can make it happen. DuplessisBuilders.net, DuplessisBuilders.net, DuplessisBuilders.net.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Muse, just let me know when we're back.
Oh, yeah, we're back. You're good.
No, we're back on the air.
We're back on the air. Yep, you're live. Right here.
I'm live.
You're live.
I don't believe
there it is. You are.
6 NFL playoff games. We'll handle that in What to Watch. I assigned Muse and Paulie and I each 2 games. So we'll look at the bracket, the AFC, NFC. Muse will look at the 4-5 matchups. Paulie will look at the 3-6 matchups. I'll look at the 2-7 matchups. So kick it, Muse.
Here's what we're watching this football weekend.
Start in the AFC, Muse.
All right. We will start in the AFC. That, of course, is Chargers and Texans in Houston. You look at Los Angeles; they are actually a 3-point favorite in this ball game as the road team. This is going to come down to Justin Herbert, and can he continue the run he was on throwing the football at the end of the season? For that to happen, his O-line's going to have to keep him clean. Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter, they have proven quite the tandem. 23 sacks between the two of those guys. But when Herbert's been going good, he's been great. That was all, of course, down the stretch. That's going to be the huge key there. On the side for the Texans, of course, C.J. Stroud hadn't been very good. He's also without Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell, so a lot of the burden going to fall on Joe Mixon. Keep an eye again on Justin Herbert.
Paulie, it is the Ravens and the Steelers.
Yes. So we obviously know that these are division rivals in the AFC North. They did go 1-1 against each other in the regular season. The Ravens currently riding a 4-game win streak. Steelers, 4-game losing streak. Ravens currently 9.5-point favorite here. Some are even saying the loser of this game, the coach could let go of their coach, which I don't see happening at all. Can Lamar Jackson finally get that playoff monkey off his back?
Broncos at Bills. Broncos snuck in because the Chiefs tanked.
They did.
They did. Cowards. I don't care what Travis Kelce says out there, F-bombing everybody, insisting that they were trying to make the playoffs, or that he's not scared of anybody is what he's saying.
He wants to slay the dragons.
He wants to slay every dragon. Yeah. You know, or you could face Joe Burrow, who's already beaten you in your building, or you could face Bo Nix. Instead, Bo Nix, get a lot of credit, deserved. They'll go on the road. Rookie quarterback will go on the road against the Buffalo Bills. Cortland Sutton is Nix's top target, over 1,000 receiving yards this season. Would you believe me, however, if I told you the team that led the NFL in sacks this season? The Denver Broncos. 63 sacks. On the flip side, the Buffalo Bills have allowed the fewest sacks this year with just 14. Watch the trenches in this ball game, and maybe a little bit of rust, potentially. The Bills kind of giving everybody the week off, all that stuff. We'll see. It's the Broncos and the Bills. They're from Buffalo, where the Bills are an 8.5-point favorite.
Oops.
That'll do.
That'll do. Okay, play, you stupid thing. There it is. Okay, so to the NFC, Vikings-Rams. That is your other 4-5 matchup. Obviously, of course, everybody looking to see the status of this game. It could be moved to Arizona, given the obvious, tragedy that's happening with the forest fire, the wildfire, I should say, over there in the LA area. But for the game itself, you look at the Minnesota Vikings. They have won the most games in NFL history, 14 of any wild card team ever, besting the 99 Tennessee Titans, who are 13-3 as a wild card. Of course, they advanced to the Super Bowl. The deal here, though, is the Vikings have 3 losses. They are 0-2 against the Lions. Their other loss, the Los Angeles Rams. The Vikings a slight favorite in the game at 1 point. What you have to look for, can Sam Darnold bounce back? He was real bad against Detroit. Now, he's had a really great season, so you shouldn't just, cast disparity on him or, a whole thought just on that one game. And they do have great receivers in Jefferson and Addison, who both went off against the Rams in Week 8. The Rams secondary, the weakest part of their defense, but Jared Verse has been really, really good as well. And what you're seeing is the resurgence of that Rams defense down the stretch, where in weeks 15 through 17, they only scored 12, 19, 13 points, but they only gave up 6, 9, and 9.
That's a lot of numbers.
That's a lot of numbers.
Way too many numbers.
They didn't score a lot, but they held their opponents to very little. Let's just say that, and they won the games. The defense has improved. Rams look like they might be sitting pretty, and of course, always tough, man. When you're 14-3, you got to travel in the playoffs. Look for that as well. That is Rams-Vikings on Sunday. I'm sorry. That's on Monday. That's Monday Night Football. Stop it. Stop it.
Go ahead, Paulie.
Commanders, Buccaneers. This is actually a rematch of a Week 1 matchup in Tampa Bay, where, of course, Jayden Daniels made his NFL debut. The Buccaneers won that game 37-20. Daniels had 2 touchdowns on the ground in that game, but struggled through the air. Safe to say those days are behind him. What will likely end up being a Rookie of the Year season. Commanders hot, riding a 5-game win streak. Bucks limping into the playoffs. Bucks are currently a 3-point favorite at home.
Limping into the playoffs? Paulie, they beat the Saints.
Stop it.
Awesome.
Jeez.
They got to win.
They almost lost that game.
All right, the 2-7 game, Packers against the Eagles in Philadelphia. Jalen Hurts coming off the concussion. Saquon didn't play last week, so should be rested. Christian Watson, the knee injury, out. Certainly that'll be a detriment for Jordan Love and the Packers. Packers have played 7 road games this year against teams that made the playoffs. 2-5 in those 7 games. So when they've had to go on the road against good teams, maybe not so great. They're a 4.5-point dog here, the Packers are. The thing that's interesting, in the last 7 games, however, Jordan Love, 9 touchdowns, 0 turnovers, and a 106 passer rating. Can Jordan Love, road playoff game, protect the football, find plays through the air without Christian Watson, or are the Packers really just a fraud that beat a bunch of bad teams? Find out in the 2-7 matchup in Philadelphia, where George Washington once lived, and his teeth are made of wool.
Wood. We're made of wood.
Don't be mean to the delivery guy. It's not his fault he can't read. We're brought to you by Supper Club. Eric and I will be at Supper Club on Saturday. Our wedding anniversary is Monday, so naturally we're not going to go out on Monday, weeknight and all that stuff. I guess we could, but we couldn't go to Supper Club because Supper Club's closed on Mondays. So a Saturday, the Mosconas will be at the at Supper Club right there in Perkins. Looking forward to it so much. Always great when we get to go in there. I might surprise Eric. I hope she's not listening. I've told you before you can do the drink toppers. So if you send them a JPEG of a photo, they can take that photo and put it on a drink topper. So I thought maybe like getting like our wedding picture, like us getting in the limo or something like that after our wedding, put that on a drink topper. It's those type of extras. And remember, they're also already taking reservations for Valentine's Day. So gents, I mean, you want to do that for Valentine's Day with the little extras they can arrange to have flowers at the table waiting for her when you get to your table. All those great little extras. At Supper Club, it is a true dining experience. Yes, the food is exquisite. You'll have the best meal of your life. But it's all the other things, the ambiance as well that goes along with being at Supper Club. Experience Supper Club. SupperClubBTR.com. Get your reservations there. SupperClubBTR.com. SupperClubBTR.com. We'll be there on Saturday. Eric and I will. So please say hello if you're going to be there. And get your reservations now for Valentine's Day. Don't wait. They'll obviously be filled, as every restaurant in town will be. But if you want to be at Supper Club, you better get that reservation now. SupperClubBTR.com. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. One segment to go here. I'll run through Jimmy's picks for Otterlocks. We have to ask us what we learned. Muse, Paulie, and I guess we can each give a pick. If y'all want to make a pick, you can, on Notre Dame and Penn State as the college football playoff semi will get underway here in about 45 minutes from right now. So still a lot to do. And the LSU women's basketball team is a big one on the road tonight against Tennessee. I'll give you a quick thumbnail on that. Lot to do. One segment to go. It's AFR.
After Further Review.
Hey, I was mentioning the Best of Baton Rouge. That voting is open right now through The Advocate. And Glow Resources is being nominated for best staffing in Baton Rouge. But one of the things that's important to note, so please go vote for Glow Resources, GLO, Glow Resources, and glowresources.com. But one of the things that's important to note, the difference between Glow Resources and temp staffing agencies is that at a temp staffing agency, they're trying to recruit employees. That's not Glow Resources. If you're an employee looking for a job, don't contact Glow. They'll find you. Glow Resources works for the employer. If you're the business owner, if you're the HR director, you're the hiring manager, you're the operations manager, and you need to find the right people for your business, skilled blue-collar labor, any type of office job in any industry, anywhere in the country or the world, Glow Resources can help. They are complete employer solutions. GLO, glowresources.com.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Thursday edition of AFR, presented by Decision Critical. As we always talk about, Blasia and the staff over at Decision Critical are awesome. Blasia was a CV nurse who helped take care of Drew when he was a baby, going to a lot of his cardiology visits. And around COVID, she started Decision Critical and actually went full-time into Decision Critical and has created an amazing business with more than 30 nurses that are full-time and continuing to grow every day. It's care, it's compassion, it's health care for your lifestyle. Where they opened Decision Critical in 2014, but it really shifted to full-time concierge nursing during COVID. But from newborn to end of life, everything in between, post-op care, chronic care management. If you've received a difficult diagnosis, if you cancer, Alzheimer's, dementia, heart disease, ALS, Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, diabetes, if you need in-home nursing care, Decision Critical can help. DecisionCriticalBR.com. DecisionCriticalBR.com. Okay, Auto Locks. Hit it, Muse.
Auto Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
All right, Otter has been very good to send us the picks and the plays every day, even though he has not been here with us. We hope to have him back soon, and when he's back, and we'll welcome him and be happy about that. By the way, a nice night for the Otter last night, a 2-1 night on the hardwood, which means for the week, Otter is 4-1 in his college basketball plays. Our guy was in Fuego a year ago, picking college basketball, and my goodness, he is just rolling along already this year. He does have one college basketball play. It's Ohio State. Ohio State was laying 2.5. I didn't check the score. It's underway. This is why, by the way, I always encourage you, go to Louisianasports.net and get the plays early, because when they're early plays, you can get them. But Ohio State currently leading by 6, 31-25. The line is now Ohio State 6.5. So, yeah, right.
Not great value there.
You missed it.
It was the old unranked over the ranked right there.
There it is.
Yeah, that's what that was.
Love that right there. So anyway, we'll keep an eye on that. If you want to in-game it, see if you can get some value somewhere along the way. But 4 plays for the Otter on the college football playoff game tonight. The line is fully shifted. Otter gave Penn State +1, but that is now moved, and Penn State is now a 1.5-point favorite. A lot of sharp money's come in on Penn State. I happen to still think there's a lot of value there with Penn State laying the 1.5. I just don't know that I trust Notre Dame's offense to get going. I'll remind you, and look, we saw the game against Georgia, and they won by double digits, which is impressive. But, I mean, you had a kickoff return for a touchdown. And hat tips, great play. But banking on that is not always there. The turnover, Georgia fumbled when they were going in to get points. And then Georgia also fumbled right before the half, which was a foolish decision by Kirby, which allowed 7 points. I mean, right there alone, Georgia's fumble, where you would assume 3 points there, minimum. And then the turnover right before half, which netted Notre Dame 7 points. That's a 10-point swing right there. So, again, credit Notre Dame. They won the game. But context matters. And I just don't, you didn't see Notre Dame consistently drive the ball. They ran the ball effectively with Riley Leonard. But in this game, if Jeremiah Love is limited, which apparently he will be, it's hard to imagine that Notre Dame offense really getting going against Penn State defensively. So if they can, good on them. But I like Penn State. I think Penn State wins. I think Penn State covers. I do like Penn State in this football game. Muse, you want to make a pick?
Sure. I'm also on the Nittany Lions. You'll remember when we did our playoff prediction at the very beginning, I had this matchup.
No,
and
I don't remember.
I did. And
I don't doubt you. I just don't remember.
I picked Notre Dame, and immediately I was like, oh, wait, I screwed that up. I didn't mean to do that. So I like Penn State in this game. You mentioned...
I remember your bracket as we were picking the whole thing. You ended up with a very random national championship game when we went to. You're like, oh, that's not good.
Well, the other screw up I had, I meant to have Ohio State over Texas, and I screwed up the semifinals. I put Texas and Notre Dame in. I meant Ohio State, Penn State.
And I think it's just you end up doing a bracket. I don't think you gave it much forethought. And so we're live doing it, and you're picking a game.
We can go back and you can hear me. I'm like, oh, wait, I screwed this up.
I know you did because you heard the final, and you're like, oh, wait, that's probably not good.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
Yeah.
I like Penn State. The Jeremiah Love thing for Notre Dame is very intriguing. On the other side for Penn State, though, Abdul Carter, his status is going to be very intriguing as well because he has the ability to completely wreck your day from the outside linebacker spot. I like the two-headed monster for Penn State as well at running back. So I like the Nittany Lions.
Paul, you want to make a pick?
I like Penn State. I think they're talented, more talented from top to bottom.
Okay, we're all going Penn State on that one. Otter likes Penn State as well. Otter likes the under. He gave it at 44.5. It's actually up to 45.5, so even more value there. And then 2 props. You can make a first drive prop. The result of the first drive, Otter thinks both teams trade punts. So result of Notre Dame's first drive, a punt. Result of Penn State's first drive, a punt. The Notre Dame first drive is -120. Penn State's first drive at a punt is -125. So you can make those plays. You want to have some fun for tonight's championship game, you can do it right there at DraftKings. And make sure to play the Otter Locks if you choose to. They're all there at louisianasports.net. We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com, williamsoneye.com. Y'all, let this be the year. Let this be the year that you ditch the contacts and glasses forever. The Williamson Eye Center can make it happen. If you're worried about, people always, the 2 biggest maybe objections. Number 1, I'm scared of the laser. Number 2, can I afford it? Well, the laser thing was one of my objections as well. 2 minutes with Dr. Blake Williamson, he will ease all of your concerns. Refractive procedures, LASIK, is the safest elective procedure in the history of mankind. That's number 1. Number 2, can you afford it? They make sure you can. And they offer 24 months, 0 interest. You can learn more. Just go for that consultation at the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. All right, Notre Dame and Penn State in the college football playoff semifinals tonight. We'll be back tomorrow. Also tonight, the LSU women's basketball team, they're at Tennessee. Tennessee's the number 1 scoring team in the country. LSU, the number 3 scoring team in the country. The big difference, LSU is the best defensive team in the SEC as far as opponent field goal percentage. Tennessee is dead last. So you have 2 teams that can really score. LSU is the team that really defends. We'll see if Kim Mulkey's squad can go up to Rocky Top and score a win. All right, y'all, that'll do it for us here on this Thursday edition of AFR presented by Decision Critical. We'll be back tomorrow. Terrio will be here. We'll recap Notre Dame, Penn State, get you ready for Texas and Ohio State as well. Have an awesome night. Muse Pauly, thanks. Y'all have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
After further review.
Getting on down the road, remind you about Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawbillsTire.com, ShawbillsTire.com. Shawbills. Hey, listen, if you're trying to buy name brand tires, you want to buy them at wholesale prices, don't you? Of course you do. You don't want to overpay. That's why you go to Shawbills. Because at Shawbills, they will find a way combining the dealer manufacturer offer and the dealer offer to get you the best price possible. Like, for example, I tell you all the time about the Shawbills credit card. It's a credit card that is only for your car. Use it when you need it. It offers VIP pricing at Shawbills. It's interest-free for 6 months. You drive now, you pay later. Ask about the Shawbills credit card when you go to shop. Again, interest-free for 6 months. You need to buy tires? That sucks. You want to pay for interest-free for 6 months? You can do it. Shawbills Tire and Auto Service.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute.